Clobberin time!
Atomic batteries to power. Turbines to speed.
Roger, ready to move out.
Clobberanimo!
Hey, greetings, clobberanimos and clobberooskies and clobberers and clobberettes and other whatever kind of clobbering you want to do. Who am I to judge? It's good to see you, my friends. Great to see you here. I really, really love it here on Wild Card Wednesday night, but we don't have a wild card here. We got a set, actually amazing, actual programming for a change. Instead of the wild card, me sitting here and just riveting on a board. You know, I'm gonna and I'm just so excited about tonight, folks. I'm always excited to welcome my fantastic friend Michael from RETROBLASTING. Hey, buddy.
Hey, man, how's it going?
Oh, it's going great, man. I'm just so happy you're here tonight. So happy to see our good friends in the chat who have shown up already. Welcome everyone to Clobberin Times 478 on YouTube, 1,178 overall for some reason. No one stopped me yet. You know, the world is just going straight to hell when it lets me do this many shows, but what are you going to do? But I'm enjoying it, so that's all that really matters. I'm selfish that way. But it's good to see you all here, my dear friends. We're going to have some fun, just basically. Well, I think we did this. Maybe we did this last year at some point where we sort of a Clobberin Times RETROBLASTING team up geek year in review, but not necessarily. We're just going to talk about whatever the hell we want to talk about geek wise. No set topic, which is different for us, but good.
Yeah, it is. But you know what? That to me, it needs to happen every now and then. Every now and then, you just got to get together with your friends and just assess the geek landscape and just say, what are we going to land on? What are we going to talk about tonight? Like what, let's just cognitively get there,
Yes, indeed. I'm so for that. And again, just kind of just hanging out, as the kids say. Maybe they don't. I'm going to say now. I'm going to cringe if I say it. I'll do it at a chill stream. I said it. Oh shit! I hate me. But that's what some people call it. Maybe not the kids. Well, the cool kids certainly don't. We know that. But anyway, a few show notes, and we'll say some hellos, and then we'll get on with it, folks. Let's see here. As always, please, of course, if you have not already, we want to thank our wonderful friend, the great Commander R.M. Briggs. We love her, and thank you all who hung out with us Saturday night for Saturday Night Star Trek. Raquel, her book's out there. Please, if anyone, the link is in my description below. Of science fiction short stories. We would hope everyone supports that. We're really proud of her, and we love her. And again, thank you all who hung out with Carlos and myself for this epic Clobby's Classic Comics review on Monday night, reviewing John Byrne's Captain America, Batman. I should say Batman, Captain America. That's what it's called, but I was just being ornery tonight. A lot of fun. And let's see, show notes tomorrow night. The clubhouse is in session. Raquel, and Mark and myself geeking out. I'm sure she'll have some more science fiction movies to talk about, and we'll have a lot of fun with that. So looking for, and then of course tomorrow night, no, sorry, Friday night, I should be over there with Nick Weiser's great channel, my good buddy Nick Weiser with the Comic Shop Boys at 8:30 Central Time for that, talking, well, just comics in general and stuff like that. And there's not a day that goes by that I don't stream, everyone, sometimes twice. I know. That is not in the past 3 months. I can't think of a day that I have not streamed. So why not just keep the streak going, right? And then Saturday night, Star Trek, 4 more episodes of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. And I think for the entire show, Howard Cosell will take my place and review every single episode. That will be exciting, ladies and gentlemen. Just kidding. I just do that to aggravate my friend Steve. Sorry, Steve. He hates my Howard Cosell. Well, I hate my Howard Cosell, which is why I do it. So. I loved Howard. I miss Howard. Good guy. Anyway. Okay, so let's see. Let me say some hellos to our wonderful friends in the chat. They're the J-Man Buddy. Good to see you there, bro. Oh, before the dude, look, see, this is what happens, Michael. This is what happens when you get seen. I don't know, man. You forget what you. J-Man, good to see you there, bro. He's a great friend. Has a great channel. Everyone, please check out his channel in my descriptions below. Good to see you there, brother. But a big shout out to our fantastic wrenches, the bronze wrencher himself, the great Eric K. Good to see you there, bro. The great Chris Persia, the Vindicator Wrench of the North. D. Bud Martin, the Wrench of Iron. Good to see you there, bro. Whether he's here or not, he always gets a shout out. Lord Thoth, Avon lives, long live the Legion, my brother, and even that rascal Phantom Outsider. And I saw Polome's minion in the chat, I think it did. So there's the pupper, her puppy dog. I hope you're driving safely, young lady. Both hands on the wheel out there. You truckers, we appreciate what you do out there. So let's see who is with us this evening. We have a lot of great friends with us. We'll shout them out. J-Man, of course, Lemon Pie. I want a lemon pie now. I want a hostess lemon pie, because as you all know, hostess pies and cakes can defeat supervillains. All you can do is throw one at them. And I know this because I've learned it from comic books. I don't know if you remember those old ads with the hostess fruit pies and cupcakes where they were.
I do. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think throw a blueberry hostess fruit pie at Galactus and there you go. Alejandro Flores Ibarra. Hello there. Gwagnar, what's up, buddy? Tim Hayes. Hello, Tim Hayes. It's good to see you, my friend. It's been a while. Darth Scipio. Michael Carney. The lovely Sherry. Oh, my sweet, lovely girl. Good to see you on there. Put your beautiful face on there because we love seeing you when you pop in. Let's see. Who else is here? Steve M. Kal-El. What's up, Kal-El, buddy? The super one. What a bunch of great friends who have popped in tonight. Always good to see you all. Let's see. All right. I think I got everybody. The great Mark D with a C, our extraordinary chief engineer. Good to see you there, bro. Hope you're doing great tonight. Let's see. Did I get everybody? Wolfie. Hey, buddy. Good to see you. Scott Hughes. Hello there, Scott Hughes. Ezra Goldstein. Hello, my friend. Mega Reacts. I like that name. Hello there. Good to see you, Mega Reacts. I like when new people pop in. Well, new to me anyway. Just Joe Jobber Buddy. He ain't new, though. That's one of my buddies that's been here with me since the BTR days, Michael.
Wow.
A good old Jobber. He was Jobber over there, but he's now just Joe 47. Let's see. Melinda M. Hey, M. Oh, I love you. I miss you. I want you to come hang out with me one of these nights. It doesn't have to be about a topic or anything. We could just, just make fun of stuff. Man, we could just joke. We could just be mean. We could just be mean to stuff. How about that? Just, whatever. So anyway, thanks for all being here tonight. Appreciate it. And again, thanks to my good buddy Michael from RETROBLASTING. We have been doing this, sir, as we talked, I think, last time. We've been doing this for, over 10 years now.
Yep. That's right.
11 years.
10 years. 10.
Maybe 11. 11, really, I think.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yes, sir. not to put too fine a point on it. Yes, I know you are a big meanie, Melinda. There's no question about it. You are evil. Oh man, so what's going on there with Retroblasting right now? Tell everybody, because of course, you're dropping fantastic videos all the time and doing a lot of streaming, like myself. What is going on? What you got coming up, stream wise, video? And Hungry Boy's here. Hey, Hungry Boy, are hungry for a femme anti-hero, coolest Serverland. Well, we love Serverland. So what's going on, man?
Oh, I was working on B-roll today for this Super 7 Ninja Turtles Ultimates feature that I'm doing. A supporter of the channel contacted me several months back and said he was really digging these figures, and he was so enthusiastic about them. I hadn't planned on buying any of them, but he was so enthusiastic about them that he sent 5 of them to my PO box without warning. And so I thought, well, I guess I better do a video, but I had to fill in some gaps. So now I'm doing this video, and there's a running joke at Retroblasting headquarters for the past 10 years since we've done the channel that anytime you have to do a video about anything related to Ninja Turtles toys, it's going to be a mountain to climb, because they always come with, like, every figure comes with like 20 different little accessories, and every time we've had to do something related to Ninja Turtles, it just blows up the studio, and not necessarily a good way. So I'm in the middle of that, and then I'm starting this. Last week I started this live stream with my buddy Sal from 2 Cents Toys, talking about like ancient mysteries and stuff. Just try and palate cleanse. Like not everything can be about plastic action figures and all that stuff. So we're doing that, and people seem to really like that. And then in the background, there's been all this business going on with the whole Indiana Jones 5 thing. It's like Groundhog Day. Yeah, it's like Groundhog Day for Force Awakens all over again. And so we're kind of working our way through that, because there was this kind of coincidental thing that happened where right as Lucasfilm was kind of ramping up the production on that and getting closer to finishing it, I was contacted by my old haunt, indiegear.com, one of my two. When I was in college, I wrote for the Raider.net, and I wrote for them all the way through grad school. And so then actually long after that, actually. And then indiegear.com, I wrote kind of for them at the tail end of grad school through like 2007, 8, something like that. And I was a member of those message boards for years and years and years. And they contacted me and they said, hey, can you come back and help us clean up the website and get it ready for Indiana Jones 5? Because every time an Indiana Jones film comes out every 20 years or whatever, they realize they're about to get another influx of people for a little while. So I'm working on that. And so in the background, all this stuff's happening, and it's kind of weird, because I don't know if you've picked up on it, Mike, but it really is like the run up to Force Awakens all over again.
It's starting to feel that way. It is. That is a good point. But JT Kurt, welcome. Good to see you, buddy. Jeff Morris, hello there. And shout out to Eric K. Thank you, buddy, for gifting those. Eric K gifted 5 memberships. So anyone out there who is not a member, if you'd like to avail yourself of that membership gift, I really appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you, Eric. You're the man, buddy. No, dude, I not thought of that till you just mentioned that it is starting to. Will it be on that scale? Maybe, I don't know about, but it does have a feel of that, doesn't it?
It does, because it feels like there's all these people who they're easily hyped, and so they're like, oh, it's gonna be amazing, and the phrase I'm hearing is, and you when I say it, I want you to give me the Force Awakens parallel. Okay, you'll know it when I say it. This is what I hear them saying. I hear them saying, well, there's no way it can be as bad as Indy 4.
Oh, yes. You're saying basically saying, well, it'll be better than the prequels. Is that what you're getting at? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I'm like, this is Groundhog Day. Like, and I'm Bill Murray, and I'm looking at them, and I'm like, Ned, and then I just punch them in the face. Like it's it's like, I can't believe you guys are falling into this trap again. And then it's going to take you another 5 years of making social media a hellscape while you work out your own crap because you're not smart enough to get there from the off. And then you're going to come back around later with your tail between your legs and be like,
right,
I'm sorry, you were right. You guys were right. It was bad.
Right. Yeah, that's like you say, be careful what you say on stuff like that. Because even, first of all, what if it's only like just the same level of crap? That'd be pretty crappy. So what's the then what if it's like I don't know what you rate Crystal Numbskull, but let's say, for example, you were someone that was nice and kind to it and rated it like a 2 or a 3 on a 10 scale, and this one was a 4, like one above it, then big deal. All this waste of time. It's not like these movies are a dime a dozen. They come out once every, as you say, 20,000 years. So all this time you wait, and it's just, So what? If it's just so what? I mean, and that's best case scenario, because it being like mildly tolerable is something even I don't think is going to be. I don't even think it's going to be possible. Look, I don't mind people withholding judgment, but don't show stupid ass teaser trailers if you don't want people to talk about it.
Well, sure. And I made this point for years and years. I was the ostracized guy I wasn't ostracized, but I was the guy that had to keep certain opinions to myself on the Indiana Jones fan groups all this time. There were some shouting matches, as you can imagine, Michael, but I kept trying to explain to people that this particular character is quite literally derived from serialized adventure heroes. So I have learned over the years, and I don't know if this is something that you've picked up on as well, Mike, but I think a lot of casual fans of Indiana Jones, they're not fans of serial adventure heroes and pulp heroes. They just like Indiana Jones because Harrison Ford played Han Solo,
right?
And Lucas and Spielberg made this character.
They just like the movies. Yeah. I mean, just that simple. They're fans of the movies themselves.
Yeah, they're fans of the movies, but they're not fans of the genre.
Right.
So, like,
that's fair enough.
They ask most of them, and they'll be like, "Oh, I think I've heard of the Rocketeer. Who's the Shadow? I don't know anything about Dick Tracy.
Right.
Who's the Phantom?" And you just want to sit back and go, "Oh my God, I'm having to get into the ring with an infant." Like, and they'll sit there and claim, and again, there's going to be people in the chat who are going to be like, Michael's gatekeeping. This isn't about gatekeeping.
Hey, we're gatekeepers here, so go ahead. I'm a gatekeeper, proud of it.
This isn't about gatekeeping so much as it's about, okay, Mike knows this. Once I start saying it, he knows what I'm going to say. I'm the kind of guy who never tries to pretend that I know a lot about something I don't know much about. And I also will always defer to somebody who I know is an expert on that compared to me. Like anybody who I've always found the real experts always say they're not experts, and because they're humble. But there are people who have more expertise than I do in a lot of areas. So, like, for example, so like when I did my X-Men video, I turned to your host here, Mike, my good friend, to help me out with that because he knows a lot more about Marvel and X-Men than I ever will. He's forgotten more than I'll ever know. And, so I didn't want to walk in there without some backup, right? I'm okay to admit that. But people nowadays have this attitude like, well, the moment you like something, it doesn't matter if you've liked it for an hour or 10 minutes, your love and all that stuff is just as valid and should be able to go toe to toe with the guy who's been in the trenches for 45 years. And I want to look at them and go, so you're going to call people who are more educated in a thing gatekeepers because they're more educated in a thing. They're not trying to keep you out, but they also don't want you barking at them like a junkyard dog, like something. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
Yeah,
absolutely. And by the way, you're right back at you. How many times have I consulted you on stuff? I mean, you're my go-to guy, not on everything to do with toys, as far as that's concerned, and Star Wars. You've been my Star Wars go-to guy forever.
Yeah.
Anything, and of course, there are a lot of things. You have a lot more expertise in a lot more varied fields than I do, and you're the one I go to on all that stuff because you're very thorough, and you dude are a perfectionist.
Well, dude, you are in the same vein. I'm not trying to make this like a bromance at the moment, but I'm just going to tell you, like, Star Trek, comic books, like, which comic books is a broad and deep subject, like that I'm just telling you, like, we all have our specialty areas, and so this new generation, I don't even mean age wise, I'm talking attitude, this new attitude of, if you know a lot about something and the other person doesn't, then you better keep your mouth shut, because you'll be a gatekeeper. And it's like, but if
right,
wait a second, so how is this supposed to work? Like, so it just really blows me away. It just really blows me away how the fandom cycle reacts to these kinds of movie trailers and these announcements and stuff, because it's not me trying to keep anybody out. It's me trying to have a real conversation, and you can't have those anymore, which is really crazy. So in the case of the serialized hero that we were talking about, see, I brought it back around. I wasn't like an old man that dropped that and moved on to something else and rambled. The whole thing is, because they don't really care about serialized heroes, they don't understand that this is the type of hero and type of character where, if you know anything about the way the genre is supposed to work, Indiana Jones has been horribly mismanaged and neglected as an IP for a very, very, very long time. Like 25 years or more long time, I'm talking. Like, Lucas could have shot the moon with this franchise, and it should, by the nature of what it is, it should already have infinitely more films than Star Wars does.
Yeah,
it doesn't, because Lucas and Spielberg are weird, and like hot take, but I don't think Spielberg actually cares as much about this franchise as his fans want to believe. And Lucas, I've got plenty of evidence to back that up. That is an opinion based on evidence. Mm-hmm. I'm drawing a conclusion based on years and years and years of evidence from Spielberg's own mouth. Yeah. Lucas, on the other hand, as we know, he's an occasionally lovable weirdo. Most of the time, he's an infuriating weirdo, but he's a weirdo. And so, like, between those two things, you get a franchise that I love these guys right now who are saying, well, Harrison's 80 and it really is time for it to end. It's best that it end now. And I laugh because I go, end? It never got started. Like, this franchise never got started. It never I know I sound like a psychopath, but I that's what
I hear you.
Yeah.
Look, absolutely. Shout out to Judson on the red shirt. Good to see you there, buddy. Hello there, Michelle O'Rourke Johansson. That 70s rock fan. What's up, buddy? And JD Lewis. Thank you all for showing up. Good to see you here. Great to see you in the chat there. And I like what Melinda said. She said, let's see. But I heard Master of Puppets on Stranger Things, so I'm as knowledgeable about Metallica as you are, fan since 1986. And there's the thing. Look, I've never really understood, like, pretending to know something that there are all kind of things that when I don't know about them, I'm embarrassed to talk about them. Hey, Classic Comics, good to see you there, buddy. I'm embarrassed to talk about them, so I'll always consult someone that I know knows more about it. It's just because you run the risk of someone catching you out and going, well, it sounds to me like you don't know crap. And so therefore I won't talk about it. Dave Rayburn, what's up, cuz? You see what I'm saying? I would be embarrassed. I don't know these people. They'll just they'll blather on about stuff that they know nothing about. It just, I guess maybe just blame Big Bang Theory. I don't know.
I had a guy as a perfect example. This is a more innocuous element of this conversation that's been going on all week. I had a guy. I posted an image on my Facebook feed of the Empire magazine cover, and You know, Mike, you and I have talked a lot over the years about in various franchises. We've talked about how when it comes to legacy characters that have already made their mark,
right?
It's especially with comic book characters, it's really important to respect the source material, and that includes the outfit. So like you and I remember you and I were just like, we were foaming at the mouth when we found out they deleted Superman's briefs from Man of Steel.
Well, well, the comics did it first. They were following, but yes, it's horrible.
And the comics shouldn't have done it either. We were foaming about it during New 52, and then we kept talking about it with Man of Steel. Indeed. Well, because we know how stupid that is. Because it's like that. Well, I was, clanging my tin cup against the cell bars about the Empire magazine cover for Indiana Jones 5, which is a full costume shot of Harrison Ford. And so, you there? Okay, we're there.
Here.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Just me.
Well, there was this full costume shot, and I'm going to tell you, that is the sloppiest looking costume I've ever seen them put the man in. Like it is so staggeringly sloppy that it actually looks like the adult deluxe Party City in a bag Indiana Jones costume. Like I can pull up the images and you'll go, "Oh my god!"
Sure, if you want, you can share them. If you mean you know how to do that on here, so
I don't have them at my fingertips, but like,
okay, that's cool.
So for example, the bag, the hat looks fine because the hat came from Herbert Johnson. Are
they out on Google somewhere? Could I find them Google?
Let's see if I can pull them up here, and then I'll send them to you via Messenger.
If you could,
it is hilarious. So,
or like I said, you can share it with me on here.
Oh, I can. Okay, well, hold on. I think I found this image right
at the bottom where it says present. Once you find it on Google, whatever, you can hit present and then share. It shows you how. I don't know if you've ever done that.
Oh, okay.
Even a guest can do that, I believe.
Yeah, so. It's pretty shocking how this works. So let me pull up the Empire magazine, Indiana Jones 5 Empire magazine.
Either that or you can just send it to me in the private chat and I can do it. So
okay, great. So let's see.
Link to it there.
I'm just collecting them up here real quick. And then
the world made of cardboard. Hello, welcome.
Okay, so let's grab this image right here. Where is it? So yeah, this one will do.
This is for the new movie.
Yeah, this is for the new movie, but there's a little bit of comparison for the sake of comparison because it's kind of showing, because you and I have always talked about how there are elements of a production that indicate how much attention is being paid or effort is going into the production overall. And I can say beyond a doubt that we're in trouble. So here
you have, and ladies and gentlemen, this man has an authentic, real deal Indiana Jones outfit.
So I'm going to go into the private chat and let's see.
If you send a link through there.
Oh, I link them through here. Okay.
Or like I said, you could even share either way. Like the word you see at the bottom of your screen on the StreamYard, it says present.
Okay.
Click on that.
Okay. I will do that.
And then share a screen.
Right. Okay. And then
just go to your tabs or whatever.
I will share the screen momentarily. Let me just pull up my Finder here because I still don't know how all this works.
So you can do that, or you can. Like I say, it's
Let's see. No, it's fine.
You just want to send me a link. Either way is good.
Okay, I did not know.
I know you had mentioned it. I know you had mentioned it on the on a second thought on a Facebook post that you did.
Yeah,
you were talking about it.
It's really, and people don't pick up on this kind of stuff, and that's not a slam. A lot of people, they're just there for the music and the sound effects, and then they're good.
No.
But
I hear you, Lisa. Hello, Lisa. Good to see you, love.
But in this case, it's yeesh. So
if you just want to send me a link, either way, because
what I'm trying to do is find a picture, because one of these stupid websites is like, would you like a WEP image? I'm like, no, I don't want a WEP image. I want a JPEG.
I know. I get those too all the time. Like I say,
All right.
But if you find just a link to the site, I can just share it.
Oh, I see. Well, I tell you what. Here's a link to this site. So
put it in the
grab
private chat.
Let me grab this link. This is Encyclopedia Britannica, and I'm going to show you the original Indiana Jones costume. So this is from Raiders of the Lost Ark, and here's the private chat. So we're going to look at this first.
Okay, doke. All right, let's see here. Gotcha. I'll just share that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Uh-oh, Melinda's coming downstairs.
What do I click?
What?
Uh-oh.
What's going on? Oh, Melinda's going to show me how to do this.
She could come if she would love to have her join us if she wants to, but no pressure.
You can share a page.
I know I can. I can share a page.
Meaning, like, you can just go and then share screen, and then you can pick your Chrome tab that you want to share.
So I share Indiana Jones character films cast, then I hit share. Okay.
Okay, cool. There you go.
Okay, so that's working.
Hey, Em.
What's up, dude?
Good to see you. Well, I hear you anyway.
All right.
Then I don't know how you is that already added to the
I don't know. So see.
Yeah, I did. I got you. No, I got you. I have to add it now.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Em.
You can
Appreciate it.
You can literally like share tabs, or you can share a whole screen, or whatever you want to do it.
All right. Well, now that we've had that embarrassing interlude, no, you're not the embarrassment. I'm embarrassed because I didn't know what.
No, you shouldn't be embarrassed by that. Love you, Melinda.
All right, so we're looking at this. We're looking at this image here from Raiders of the Lost Ark, and his outfit was very, very carefully and meticulously designed. Like, in other words, it was tailored to him. It was tight. When I say that, I don't mean the fit. I mean metaphorically. It was tightly conceived. Like, it was. Everything works together and everything makes sense. You've got his equipment belt, which holds his gun and his whip. You've got his bag, which is over his shoulder onto his right hip. Right hip. No, left hip. Sorry, I'm not good with the directions. It's on his hip opposite his gun holster, right? The bag is under his jacket. So the bag strap goes under his jacket. He's got these really nice vertical pleats that go through each pocket and go all the way down into the tail of his shirt. That is unique to Indiana Jones' shirt. And it's been that way all the way through the franchise. In other words, they made his shirt was unique to the character. There'd never been a safari shirt like that before, right? So, and yes, as Mark D with the C said, and as Spielberg pointed out,
it's costume.
Yeah. They even drew
in the best sense of the word.
Yeah, they drew an analog to his professor version is his Clark Kent, and then this is his superhero outfit when he goes adventuring, right? Very nice, tight jacket. When I say tight, I mean it's well fitted. Obviously, it gives him some room to maneuver. But you'll find that when you watch Raiders of the Lost Ark and even Temple of Doom, his outfit fits better than it does in the subsequent movies, right? It just looks better overall. And this has nothing to do with age, okay? I don't want anybody pointing out, like, oh, well, he's older now. No, because I'm about to show you stuff that makes no sense whatsoever, okay?
Okay, dope.
All right, so let's look at, let me back up here and grab you a link to the Empire magazine cover. And then Melinda's going to laugh at me because I'm going to totally...
I'll get it.
I got the link right here, so I'm gonna.
If you just put it in the chat, the private chat. I'll grab it.
Let's see if I can find. There we go. So let's.
Hey, Trevor Cunningham.
Let's see. So let's do copy image address, and I'm putting it in the chat right now.
Okay, so what we'll be looking at here would be from the new movie. I take it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see here. Let me grab that.
Mm-hmm.
It's the cover, right? It's the cover of
it's the cover. Yep.
Okay, cover of I see what you're saying. Okie dokie, yeah.
And
old
this
Indiana Jones.
Mm-hmm. Now, right here, it's evident, and everybody's eye gets drawn to the hat and jacket, and they think, oh, Indiana Jones is back. But there's a lot going on here that's really weird. So, for example, the shirt doesn't have the pleats anymore. For the first time in the history of the franchise, the pleats are gone. And you ask yourself, oh, Michael, that's not that big a deal. Well, it is when you consider that that's part of what made Indiana Jones' silhouette look the way it did. His whole look was defined by these pieces going together this way and looking this way. You've also got his shoulder bag is now outside of his jacket and on the opposite hip. Now, the previous image, which we don't have to go back to, the sizer buckle for the strap so that you could adjust how long the strap is on that bag was on the front. So when they decided to flip the bag and put it on the outside, these people didn't even bother to rethread the strap so the buckle would be on the front. So the buckle I've seen in photographs from the set, the buckle's just on his back now. They literally just told him to wear the bag backwards.
You don't think it's reversed, huh, do you? Or...
Oh, it's definitely the strap. The strap could be rethreaded so the buckle would remain on the front even if the bag is on the opposite hip. But they didn't do that. They literally just said wear it on your opposite hip. So now the strap is backwards. And it's like, what the hell, guys? And then on top of that, this is the big one. There's no gun belt anymore. So every image that you see, whether it's the young Indy, the de-aged Indy in the trailer, or the old Indy that's currently 79, 80 years old, whatever that he's playing as, he doesn't have a gun at all. Now, this is more important than just the gun, because we know Disney's going to try and delete every gun they can from any film they do. But also, you see how he's wearing a pants belt that is just a military slide buckle belt? It's just like a web.
Yeah, I see that.
It's like like a World War II web belt, right? His gun belt was also a load-bearing belt, an equipment belt for his whip. So you know how cops, they have a pants belt, but then they have a load-bearing belt for their flashlight, their gun, their radio. That's so that their pants don't fall down due to the weight of other stuff. Well, as somebody who's had, real Indiana Jones grade leather bullwhips that are, 10 feet long for a good portion of my life, I can tell you that a canvas web belt, you can't just put a little snap keeper around it and expect it to hold up that whip without it crimping, pulling that side of your pant down a little bit. Like, there's a reason he had a second belt, and they've just deleted that too, because God knows.
Yeah, of course.
And so,
wow,
I know this is like, people are like, wow, Michael's nitpicking, but I'm not, because these are the details. If you're not even looking at the details of your title character, what does that mean for the script? Like,
yeah, I don't think. By the way, not kidding here. There's not really a script.
Oh, I'm sure there's not. Yeah,
I mean, I've heard a lot. It might be rumor, but I hear there was not a script.
Yeah, in the typical Disney Lucasfilm way of we're just going to film 50 different things.
Yeah, I think that might be true.
Yeah, here's the thing about it. You've got a character here who, he's in World War II in the trailer, and yet doesn't have his revolver. Like, okay, I can almost get there with the main part of the film is set in the mid to late 60s, and global laws have changed, and so Indy can't go around packing heat anymore. I could get there. I'd still really like that equipment belt so that his whip actually has a decent place to hang. But all the rest of it, like him just wearing a Dickies shirt rather than he does not. It looks sloppy, man. Like he looks like he should be trying to sneak onto a rail car at night, like so he could get a free ride to Schenectady. Like, he doesn't look like Indiana Jones anymore. And I don't care if other people are like, because I've gotten this attitude from people the last week or so where they're like, look, man, he's got his jacket and he's got his khakis and he's got his hat. He's Indiana Jones. And I'm like, okay, I get it. You like the music and you like the hat and you like Harrison Ford, but okay, I need you to go over there and just be happy, because like I've said many times, if you're cool with whatever, why are you getting into these conversations with people who are trying to ask why it's not better? If you're cool with whatever, stay out of the debate, right? Like, it blows me away. It's I don't understand why this concept is so hard for people to understand. If you're going to shove into your pie hole whatever they sling at you, why do you care that other people aren't happy?
I've been fighting that battle since 2009, as you well know.
Right. Now, here's where the kind of jokey joke comes in. I said at one point, it's like the people at Disney just asked each other what they think of when they think of Indiana Jones, and that's how they made the costume. I said, it's almost like, and I said, it's like they went to Party City and they grabbed the official Indiana Jones costume in a bag from Party City and they put that on him. Well, guess what? I'm about to send you another link because then I went checking just to make sure I wasn't crazy. And, well, I hate being right all the time. So here is the image that came up within minutes. I sent you the link to that.
Okay. And by the way, the thing about this is the laziness. I mean, if there's somebody showed up at a con wearing this, no one would give him any static about it. But he's not making the movie either.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody would go, oh, it's Indiana Jones. Oh, it's cute. Whatever. No, okay. Hang on. Let me remove that. There's the original. Hang on. Okay, let me share it. Vamping music. Oops. Here we go. All right. Okay, got it. All righty. Okay, dope. There you go.
Okay. So he's got his bag over his jacket. It's on the wrong hip. There's no buckle in the front. He has no gun belt, and his whip is just hanging limply. Like, obviously, he's holding it in this photograph.
Holding it, yeah.
This to me is indicative of everything Disney is. It's like I'm actually shocked that they didn't put Harrison Ford in the gift shop stuff from the theme park. I'm actually shocked they didn't just raid the Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular theme park gift shop and just put him in all of that licensed garbage, because his outfit looks more like this poor Joker who's modeling this horrible costume than it does the real deal from the last 4 movies. And look, that includes Crystal Skull. Like, Crystal Skull, he did wear the bag on the outside, but he wore it on the right shoulder and he had all of his stuff. So the outfit was still in play. The pleats were still on the shirt and everything like that. We always joked the best thing about Crystal Skull is the hat, because the hat looked great. But he now looks like a Party City version of himself. Like a Party City costume version of himself. I hear you. I think James Mangold is a talented director. But I don't think James Mangold, like, he wants to make this movie. He says, it's going to be like, he says, it's going to be as close to the feel of Raiders as any other Indiana Jones has been before since Raiders. And I'm like, I've seen the trailer, dude. It's not possible. Like,
nope, not possible. Keely Chow.
So
good to see you.
Anyway,
but
that's
shout out Captain James C. Skywalker, Keely Chow. Good to see you both. Yes, you see. Everyone, in case you don't know, the gentleman that I have here with me tonight you have cosplayed Indiana Jones many times, and you have a lot of authentic. I mean, you have an authentic outfit. I mean, It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
and I've seen it. This is someone who knows. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? You can have any opinions you want about Indiana Jones or movies or whatever. This man knows what he's talking about with the costumes because he has it. He has all of that stuff.
Yeah, and it's not something where, because a lot of people like to say, well, okay, you know a lot about the costume, so what? I'm like, look, I'm not saying that because the costume is necessarily wrong that the film is going to be bad, although most of the time it is the canary in the coal mine for how the production is going to go. Like when we saw the Man of Steel costume, we knew it was like, okay, the rest of this thing is going to come in dead on arrival. Like this film is garbage at this point.
That was bad. They started out on the wrong foot, didn't it? With that for sure, and just kept going down. Yeah. No, you're right.
And with this one, it's like, okay, there's too many unexplained massive changes to the outfit for the first time, and any explanation that they're going to give for why the outfit looks this way is going to be so pithy. It's going to be worse than anything in Solo, where they're trying to like explain where his gun came from and where his last name came from. In other words, these things shouldn't be explained and really shouldn't be changed. Like I know I sound like a psychopath, Mike, but I'm not. I have a very bad feeling about this. And,
yeah. So do I.
Yeah. It speaks to a lack of effort. It speaks to a lack of knowledge. It reminds me of those stories that come out of these studios and corporations where you find out that they don't really know anything about the character they're working on. They don't know anything about the history of the character. They don't know about, Rian Johnson working on Star Wars. That man didn't know anything about Star Wars. Like he didn't know anything about it.
He wasn't the first to do something he didn't know anything about. I mean,
true, absolutely true. It's just
happened forever.
Yeah.
But
so yeah, we've been kind of fighting that battle a little bit the last few days.
It does remind me a lot of what you're talking about, how with the Force of break-ins. Now, hello, Collapse Allen, good to see you. This, of course, is a little bit farther down the road than when that really started heating up the few months leading up to it. I mean, there was contention, of course, but this won't be on that scale because this won't have the this franchise doesn't have the cultural relevance that Star Wars once had.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of how gigantic it is, but it's still big. Don't get me wrong, but
no,
I've always Star Wars.
No, I agree with you. I even gotten hot water. I lost 40 subscribers yesterday because I came out with a short video where I was like, guys, Indiana Jones is a middling franchise at best. Like it's not.
Yeah. And I love it. I mean, you might be even if it's your favorite, you have to admit stuff. Hello, J-Man. Good to see you there, buddy. Oh, yeah, I'll see you for the next Bob Haney outing. I'm about to choose the next Bob Haney review soon. At least we have that to look forward to since we this other stuff. But this thing. Look, I guess you kind of dragged me kicking and screaming on the whole recasting thing because generally I'm against recasting when it's a character that. My rule of thumb had been this, and you've known it. You've known this probably. My arguments that I had about, for example, recasting the Star Trek original series characters was this. Those characters were not created for another medium, like comic books, movies,
right,
novels, pulps, what have you. They were created by Gene Roddenberry, and he kind of co-created them with a few other writers, D.C. Fontana, and, of course, William Shatner. The actors were, in my opinion, co-creators of those characters. Hello there, Brian Hepburn. So, to me, I will never accept anyone playing them ever.
Mm-hmm.
Ever. Now, when it comes to characters like Superman or James Bond or someone like that, I might like a certain actor better than another, but it can be recast ad infinitum.
Yep.
And we'll like the ones we like better than the others, but no one will ever be Kirk.
Right.
No one will ever be. And by the way, the same thing goes for me, like with a Luke Skywalker or a Han Solo or somebody like that.
Yep.
Nobody will ever be those because they were created for that one venue. So you go, well, Indiana Jones, you might make the same case. Was co-created by, Lucas and Spielberg and Harrison Ford in a kind of joint way and other writers. And therefore, I might not ever want to see anyone play him again. But you've made the case that have kind of swayed me the other way to that, going, if he had been recast and they were making, if this had been, in other words, consistency is your thing. With James Bond, up until recently, it's been consistent, whether you like the guy playing him or not. The Broccolis didn't stop making him because Sean Connery wanted to leave.
Right.
They recast him.
Yep.
They said, and yes, he was a literary character first. However, if they were making Indiana Jones movies with the same consistency, like the Broccolis, that was the only thing he had was James Bond. So he and when he passed, they kept making his people, his family, whatever, kept making them. So whereas what's his face, Lucas and Spielberg, they had all this other crap they wanted to do. They couldn't even stay committed. Now Spielberg was not a franchise guy per se, anyway, and Lucas got bored with Star Wars and wanted to go do all kind of other crap before. I mean, he left a 16-something year or whatever year gap. What was it?
Yep, 16 years. 16 years
right.
between. Yep.
Much like Doctor Who, it had a 16-year gap. So he wanted to do other crap. So he wouldn't really want to mess around with Indiana Jones that much. He did his young indie thing. So they weren't committed to it as a movie franchise the way they were James Bond. So if they had been committed to it in that fashion, and let's say by the mid-90s, there'd been 3 or 4 indie movies already. And then Harrison Ford says, well, I've done 5 of these things. I don't really want to do anymore. And then they said, well, we're going to keep doing them just like James Bond keeps doing them. And then they cast somebody else. I'd probably, okay. I may not like the next guy. He may not be, I might go, you know what? I just like Ford too much. I may not like this next new guy, but I think I would have warmed up to it more. But because the thing was such a stagnant franchise, then by the time, they bring it back in 2008, I'm at least like, well, he's old Indy, but I'm still kind of nostalgic about this. We've made us wait 19 years. Let's see what they do. I'll take it. I mean, if they had, so I was fine with there being an old Indy if the movie was any good. Then of course we saw what happened.
Right.
And now they pull the same shit again. It's been how many years again? They make us wait forever. I'm like, you make me kind of indifferent to it. Just let it be Harrison Ford, since you guys have no interest in recasting it, making it a stable franchise.
Yeah, it's been 15 years since the Indy 4.
Right.
So here's my frustration with that. I agree completely with you that they've missed their off ramp on the highway to do a recasting, because now it's just too long and they've
that's ship sailed.
Yeah, Spielberg and Lucas have really messed it up, because where the Star Trek crew and the Star Wars heroes and a number of other characters were created, and then a continuity was established around them. In other words, especially, like, you could argue that the original series of Star Trek was a problem of the week, but because the pilot episode of The Cage showed the previous crew of the Enterprise, that early switchover showed that there was a kind of continuity to the Federation. And so, especially by the time the movies happened, the original crew movies, there was definitely a Star Trek universe canon that was going on, similar to Star Wars. There is this arc, there is this dramatic arc where the characters grow and change. Indiana Jones, on the other hand, is a serial adventure hero. And he was sold to Spielberg by Lucas, because Spielberg was desperate to do a Bond movie, and they weren't going to let him do that because he wasn't British. So Lucas said, I've got that beat. I've got a character that's like James Bond that's going to knock everybody's socks off. So on that impetus alone, I go, they were envisioning him to be their James Bond franchise. So I put that over there. Then the next point I always make is, they had cast this part, Spielberg and Lucas, the two infallible creative gods of movies that the fanboys love to say do no wrong. They had cast this role without even considering Harrison Ford. And the only reason they lost their boy was because the people that were stagnating this guy and dragging him around on a defunct TV contract found out that Spielberg and Lucas liked the guy. So they activated their contract before they lost him. Yeah, Tom Selleck. The fanboys, the same fanboys, mind you, who love to say that Lucas and Spielberg can do no wrong, they love to crap on Tom Selleck. They love to be like, oh, he'd have been terrible in the part. And I want to look at him and be like, your golden children picked him first. They picked him.
He was first choice.
He was first choice. So my point is that they were recasting Indiana Jones before they ever got started. And then after that, Lucas went off and did the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles and had 2 other indies, and River Phoenix was in there in the Last Crusade. So my point in saying all that is, I think if you look at the breadcrumbs, I feel like Harrison Ford became the permanent Indiana Jones by Last Crusade, because by that point, Lucas and Spielberg and Kathleen Kennedy and Frank Marshall and all those people and Harrison Ford were treating the Indiana Jones films like that family reunion we do every few years where we get together and make a movie. And they didn't act that way on the first 2. The first 2 were very much in the serial pulp hero style. But then by Last Crusade, it was like, oh, I love getting... And then look at the behind the scenes on Indy 4. It's like Last Crusade. Everyone's back together. They're shaking hands. They're hugging. They can't wait to do this movie together. They picked all these exotic locations so they could go have a vacation. Like, it's this whole just different tone. And they've tried to impose a continuity on this character, thin as it is, that doesn't work. Because... you sit back and you go, okay, there was a dad in the last one, and now they got the son in this one. But oops, the movie sucked, and the actor who played the son really screwed up his life, and he's out of favor with Hollywood. So now they're doing this next one with Phoebe Waller, whatever her name is.
Waller-Face.
Yeah, and now she's a goddaughter, but that makes you ask, well, what about the son? Where'd he go? And where'd Karen... See... what it reminds me of? Go ahead, sorry. No, go ahead.
It reminds me of a certain movie that came out in 2015 that totally regressed a character back to where he shouldn't be. Remember, whether you like Kingdom Crystal Numbskull or not, there was advancement to the character. He was older, sure. At the end, he gets married to Marion. He's going to move on. And of course, Lucas himself, the old man that he cut out of the old Indiana Jones films, the old man who lived to 90 with the eye patch, had a family and stuff. He is regret. I don't know for sure. I've not seen the movie yet, meaning Indy 5, but it looks to me like they've regressed all of that, and it's going to be like 2015. He's a deadbeat dad, probably. He's a dumbass. He's going to get shown up by this woman who's going to be the best at everything and make him look like a fool. And he's going to be portrayed pretty much like this is going to be almost a carbon copy of The Force Awakens. He's going to be he's going to be Han Solo from that movie, just as called Harrison Ford.
Yeah,
that's that's my guess.
Yeah, I could be wrong. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, go ahead. No,
go ahead, please.
I was just going to say, I agree with you. I agree with you. Everybody's talking about how the performance, you can already tell it's just gruff Harrison Ford at this point. It's not a character anymore. It's just, and I see Tim Hayes saying the actor who played Mutt, I think just pissed off too many fans because they don't care for him. I want to point out that
I guess
that's I'm not saying that what he's saying isn't correct, but what I'm saying is there's a reason that with serial heroes, characters that are brought in to kind of shore them up because the actor's getting too old or whatever, they're rejected out of hand, because you're not with serial heroes. You're there to see the character in a new situation. You're not there to see story progression of a drama. Like, you're not there to see this Wuthering Heights kind of thing. You're not there to see Downton Abbey. You're not there to see even the Star Wars Skywalker saga. You're there to see Batman, in another scenario with, one of his rogues gallery. You're there to see Conan take on the next evil sorcerer over the other side of the mountains. And you're there to see Indiana Jones in this new adventure. People go for the title character. You're there for Batman. You're there for Conan. You're there for Indiana Jones. You're there for Lara Croft. You're there for those characters. Like, you're not there for a cast of thousands as they grow old and learn from one another in the days of our lives. And that's why anybody who's there to shore up the title character, the audience is going to reject them. So, like, for example, when Indiana Jones was of the proper age, even though I have misgivings about what Last Crusade did in the long term, Last Crusade, by the way, is a very watchable and enjoyable movie. I'm not trying to dump on Last Crusade, but it did break the format of Indiana Jones, so it would have been best for it to have ended there. I've always said Last Crusade, much like how I believe Return of the Jedi was the harbinger to the prequels, Last Crusade was the arrow that pointed the way to Indy 4. And that and I could make my argument for that all day, but I'm not going to do that here. But when it comes to Indiana Jones and these serialized heroes, when he was young in Raiders, Temple of Doom, and in Last Crusade, the characters around him of Sala, Short Round, and his dad all worked for the audience because Indy was always backing them up. It wasn't the other way around. Like, and now since Crystal Skull with Mutt Williams, it's been turned on its head, and they've been trying to find a false way to pass the torch. And it's like, you don't pass a torch with a serial hero. People are there for that character. They don't want, they don't want to see anybody else. Like, do you really want, look at what's happened in the comic books lately with DC. I don't want to read a book about Superman's son. I don't care what or who he is. I just don't care. I want to read about Superman. That's why I'm here. I want to read about Wonder Woman. That's why I'm here. Like, I don't want to. That is the double-edged sword of that format of character. You've created a character that people are so in love with as a James Bond. Think about it. Remember Halle Berry in Die Another Day?
I sort of, I mean, she's memorable in some scenes.
Who wants to remember that character of Jinx? I get it. But they were going to try and do a spin-off movie with her. And guess what? It fizzled.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Everybody wants to see James Bond. Whereas movies called Star Wars, Star Trek, this and that, they are ensemble casts within a continuity.
Right. People
go to them to see the whole ensemble work together and face the next problem or the next chapter of an ongoing problem, like the Genesis trilogy, right? And then by the end in Star Trek 6, you are there to see the crew for the last time. You have journeyed with them. But I hate to break it to everybody, the reason that everybody's so confused, divided, conflicted, whatever about the whole Indiana Jones thing is that whether you want to admit it to yourself or not, nobody wants to see a character like Indiana Jones old. Indiana Jones is somebody that we project our own fantasies onto, and I don't mean like prurient fantasies. I mean like wish fulfillment kind of stuff. Just like Bond, like we go there to truly escape and be like, God, I'd love to be a dude like him. He's so cool. Like, I would love to see myself in that role. You don't go there to see this guy daughter off into the twilight. Like, that's different from an ensemble continuity story. Like, I don't know if I'm making sense or not, but it's
no, I understand.
Yeah. Like, how many people do you know, Mike, that walk around saying Sean Connery's the only James Bond as far as I'm concerned?
I hear it, but I mean, there's some people who only like him, but there are other people who at least accept the other ones.
Yeah, you hear it, but it's not common. You look at that guy and you're like, that weirdo. Like, you're kind of like, people, that guy, right?
People like to pick up favorites.
I
get that though.
Favorites are one thing. Favorites is one thing. I'm talking like, for example, I know a guy who loves Michael Keaton as Batman, and he thinks he's the best Batman ever. And when I was talking to him about serial heroes, I was having almost the same conversation I'm having with you. And he said, well, I'm just going to have to say it. I think Michael Keaton is the best. And I went, I never said you couldn't say he was the best. I said, are you insisting he can be the only? And he stepped back and he goes, oh, well, no, not at all, not at all. I said, exactly. I said, why Bond, Conan, pick a character, Batman, Superman, Sherlock Holmes, Doctor Who, which is baked into the mythology. That's what's brilliant about Doctor Who is the regeneration thing. Yes. All these characters, we accept that they can be recast. And yet with this middling franchise, they have botched it and mismanaged it so badly. This franchise that was supposed to be the 1980s answer to James Bond. Somehow they fumbled and stumbled and mumbled their way into a cul-de-sac of, well, let's just see him get really, really old to the point that it's unbelievable that he can even be in an action movie anymore, and then just end it. And you go, yeah, really, Disney? You paid $4.4 billion just for Star Wars? You're going to end Indiana Jones like without tapping the well, which, by the way, massively underserved franchise with massive potential that's never been realized. So what? You're going to throw that one away and then what? Lean on your shitty Willow show? Like, really? Like, am I crazy? I don't mean to overtalk this.
No. I'm totally with you. Hey, Dave, good to see you. And hello there, Drew G. Welcome. Good to see you both. Look, dude, I'm absolutely with you. And it's a shame to see this happen. But it's like I said earlier, they didn't care about it. Neither one of those guys gave a toss. They were like a couple of kids. They played with him for a while. In other words, 3 movies. They chuck them in the garbage because enough people squawked for 20 years or 19 years. They make another one, and then nobody really likes it. So they're gone. And now the vampires that suck the blood that Lucas sold it all to decides to dredge it up again. This isn't even Lucas anymore. He doesn't care.
He's not even there.
Doesn't care. He's not even there. Yeah, it's not even. You know, look. I was talking about Krister Numbskull, as I like to call it. At least that movie. Look, it has 3 big, gigantic problems that make the movie, disliked by most people, in my opinion, and they are: open up, stupid ass, ridiculous, surviving a nuclear blast on a freaking refrigerator.
Yep.
Idiotic scenes with CG monkeys.
Yep.
And silly interdimensional aliens.
Yep.
Aside from that, the character stuff's pretty decent for me. In other words, yes, he's old Indy.
Yes.
All the character stuff, a lot of the action, everything else has a pretty decent Indiana Jones film. It's just killed by some really unbelievably ridiculous bits that make everybody laugh at the movie.
Yep.
But the characterization, I'm still believing that's old Indy.
Yeah.
I never not believe him.
Sure.
I believe this movie. Now I haven't seen it. It's coming out in the next 7 months, whatever it is. This doesn't look like it's going to be even that. It's going to be, and I know I said this earlier. I'm repeating myself. This is going to be the Force Awakens. He's going to be that. He's going to be the Indiana Jones version of that fake Han Solo from that movie, who was just there. Look how they regressed his character in that movie. He's going to be regressed in this one. He's not going to be the same guy. Again, that's what everyone's saying. You're judging from just seeing a trailer. Okay, look, if it's not true, I promise you all, I will say it. If there's anything to say good about the movie, I'll say it. I'll watch it.
Yep.
But that's the way it looks for me coming towards it. And the thing is, it's because this is not like Broccoli, who was committed to James Bond, and that's all he had in his tank. Spielberg and Lucas were, after they got through playing around with it for a while, they got bored with it, and they did other things, and they didn't care. So the original creators, this isn't even a situation like a lot of comic book characters where their creators got screwed out of them.
Right.
This is a situation of some people creating something, and then say, we don't really give that much of a crap. We got all kind of other stuff to do. You guys can have it now. We don't, just go do what you want with it. We don't even give a crap. And that's why Indiana Jones is and always will be in the sorry situation it's in. And after this time, hello there, Rod Thunder. Good to see you, buddy. After this one, it'll never be back. I mean, never. This is it. If you like this movie, then have fun with it, because you're not going to get another one after this one.
Yeah.
At least not with Harrison Ford. Maybe 10 years later, they'll make something and finally do what you say, recast, but it'll be too late by then. No one's going to give a flying crap about this movie.
Exactly. No one's going to care. And with the way
if they like it, no one's going to care. I mean,
oh yeah. Even if and also I bet you if I could prove it, I think Disney is also relieved that this series is going to have one and done. And the reason I say that is because Disney is the wrong company to handle Indiana Jones and or any early 20th century based pulp hero. They are gun shy, both literally and metaphorically, about a lot of things that are required to make a genre film like this work. Like they don't, it's like, I would love to know what kind of negotiations it took on Spielberg and Mangold's part to actually, it had to have been Mangold, because Spielberg said after Schindler's List he would never do Nazis as a villain ever again. So,
which is weird.
Meaning as a adventure villain, as a genre.
Oh
villain.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Whereas Mangold has gotten those back in there in a Disney film, no less. So I'm like, okay, I bet you Disney would probably be happy to not have to worry about what they feel are optics headaches or problematic elements that have to be brought into an Indiana Jones story. I don't believe they're problematic. I'm saying that through the modern lens of
I understand.
Yeah, it's really a shame that it's unfurled this way. And I just can't imagine any resolution to this being satisfying, especially given that you and I both have the same warning light on, which is I think Harrison Ford is going to show up just like he did in Force Awakens and just kind of be old Harrison Ford again. Like, remember how we used to joke this was before he got sick, but remember how we used to joke like 15 years ago that Bruce Willis was just showing up and not really acting anymore? Like he just showed up, said a few steely-eyed lines the same way in every movie.
Yeah, he did like 20 movies last year.
Yeah, and his even back when he was doing Die Hard 4 and 5, it didn't feel like John McClane. It felt like Bruce Willis just showing up and just holding a gun. Like it didn't feel like it did in the first three.
Especially 5.
Oh. Yeah. So you sit back and you go, is Harrison Ford kind of in his obviously we don't want him to have the illness that Bruce Willis gets. I'm not wishing that upon the man. What I'm saying is Bruce Willis got lazy before he got sick, is what I'm saying. And I'm wondering if Harrison Ford is just kind of like, I don't know. Yeah.
He did like 20 movies last year for some reason nobody even heard of.
Yeah,
it's weird. Though Alejandro says he doesn't like that they bring back Yahtzees either. He said it should just be the commies and like they did in set of the Cold War type thing. Hey, Scuba Pete, what's up, brother? And Masters, Maniac Mexico. Good to see you, my friends.
Yeah, but see, the problem, Alejandro, is they can't necessarily do commies because even though right now Russia's out of favor, they started this movie before all that happened, and they were thinking about the Russian market. I guarantee you they were thinking about the Russian movie market.
Could be. Well, because I do, from what we do know, even though the movie starts in the 1960s, even that will be a prime time to use the commies, but they're going to use neo Yahtzees instead.
Right.
So, which is, again, that kind of stuff doesn't bother me that much. I think it's fine for Indiana Jones or Captain America to fight Yahtzees all the time, so I'm cool with it. But
I
see what you're saying, Alondra. Yeah. I mean, in a good movie, I wouldn't give a crap who he's fighting. But I hear what you're saying, Alejandro. I know what you mean. He's,
Here's the thing, Chris PRSA. Yeah, I can't blame Harrison Ford for being lazy at 80, but I can blame him for taking the script. If he's gonna be lazy about a character that he claims is his life's work.
Yeah, he claims he likes him.
Yeah, he claims he likes Indy, and he claims this is his life's work. That's a quote from him, which I find laughable because we've had 5 films in 42 years.
Yes,
which is hardly life's work.
Right.
Then he needs to bring his all to it. And I'm not saying that he's not bringing his all as far as showing up on time and, you know, doing the stunts and working through his physical therapy and his all that kind of stuff. But as far as his acting, that's just as important. And when you're not emoting as much, when you're not, when it feels like the character is gone and just the face is there, it doesn't work. Like, it doesn't work. I'm not going to, when a man is being paid $20 million or whatever it is to revisit a role, I expect him to not be lazy with his acting.
Yeah.
No,
and it's just it's all a big shame. I think the good news is it's tough to even work up a lot for me.
Yeah,
it's tough for me to work up even a lot of caring about it. In other words, if I were just, I don't know, I watched that trailer the first time it's a teaser, people calling it, although it's almost 2 minutes long. I watched that and I kind of laughed at first, but I went back and, I wanted to watch it. I watched it a little bit closer and I see that and I'm like, I know I have a lot of water under the Waller Bridge. Ugh. I see this trailer and I don't see anything that makes me, as an Indiana Jones fan. In other words, it doesn't. First of all, you start off with the oh my God, it's so tiresome. The theme and slow piano of they do it like they always do with these old properties now.
Yep.
That's supposed to be touching. Seeing Salah is just I love Salah as much as the next guy, but we know we already know he's not going to be a big part of the film or anything.
No, it's like they met at the airport over a layover. At the airport.
I'm just here to tell you, have a good movie. I'll see you later.
Yeah. Thank you for meeting me at the layover.
Don't get killed, Indy.
I have a flight back to Morocco in 2 hours, so it was nice of you to drive down here and have a gyro with me. Like, it's like...
That's probably it. Again, look, I know everyone's going to say, and look, it's true. We haven't seen it. So people say, well, how do you know? No, I don't know. We're just vibing on stuff that we've seen. And by the way, I want my lay of land on that is when people sometimes like to say, well, you shouldn't be commenting. You haven't seen the movie yet. No, we haven't seen the movie yet. But if they don't want anyone talking about it, then don't put the damn trailer out. You're going to put the trailer out. Fans are going to talk, baby.
Right.
That's your problem. If you don't, they had to disable the dislike button on the trailer on the YouTube channel when they released this thing, which is pretty funny. Really.
Oh, did they?
Yes, sir.
Oh, wow.
And does that mean? I mean, it's just because. And you know what? I don't even think that's indicative of whether people thought the trailer was good or not. I think that was just because Disney's got such a bad rep with fans right now. What do they expect? People just see Disney trailer. They don't even credit. They'll just go beep down just to piss them off. So they disable it.
What happened to verisimilitude? What happened, Mike? Like,
I don't know.
Like, I can sit there and say, look, guys, I can't believe that a 79-year-old man is going to be hanging from one speeding car, kicking another dude with a machine gun
and rearing up a horse and all that
and they'll
stuff.
sit there and say that's ageist, and I'll go, ask your grandfather to hang out the window of a speeding car right now and then drive up alongside him. I can't do that. That's dangerous. So you won't let it happen in real life. Well, Indiana Jones isn't real. I know he's not real. That's why I don't think he should age. And
just show new adventure. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's what stops them in their tracks. Because their defense so far, to me, has been, I think the most realistic thing about a college professor is them getting old and not retiring. And I went, a college professor doesn't go fight Nazis in Argentina. A college professor at 80 is still just standing there trying to remember what his lecture was from last year. Right. I know. I was subjected to a bunch of 80-year-old professors. Some of them were sharp and some of them were past their expiration date. I don't have a problem with old people. The Grumpy Old Men series is some of my favorite comedies of all time. And they're playing their age, and they're doing what believability allows me to really plug in and engage with what these men of this age are doing on screen. And it's like Indiana Jones, like even in Batman Beyond, 80-year-old or 90-year-old Bruce Wayne.
Bruce Wayne's the best character on there.
He's the best character, but he's not doing anything we can't believe he couldn't do. Like,
he can barely move.
Right.
He's been Batman all his life.
Right.
He couldn't take his pills half the time. What's Terry had to help him?
Yeah.
A lot of time he was decrepit. I mean, because he'd been spending all of his life treating his body like shit, running around, getting beat up and shot and falling and jumping. It took its toll.
Right. It's like, how you just said earlier that in Indy 4, I still believed that I was looking at Indiana Jones just at the age of like 62 or whatever it was, and I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
I feel
that
like
opening fight sequence is kind of entertaining. I mean,
exactly.
It was fine.
Yeah, and in the same year, Rambo 4 came out.
Oh yeah.
And
that was good.
And he limited what he did in that movie to be believable for a guy who was pushing 60. So you're like, okay, I'm with this.
Right.
Indy 5, just from the 2 minutes we've seen, I can't buy it. I knew I wouldn't be able to buy it. It to me is just as disappointing as Rambo 5 was. Like, and Rambo 5 was a combo of his age being weird, and then on top of the story being bad.
It was like a Saw movie at the end. I was like, ugh, God, that movie was weird.
Yeah,
that was John Rambo, whatever they called it,
or Last Blood. They called it
Last Blood. Yeah, I really did not like that.
It didn't feel like a Rambo film. So you sit back and you go, this doesn't feel like. I'm sorry, this doesn't feel like. It feels more like Indiana Jones than Rambo 5 felt like that, but it only feels like Indiana Jones because you got the hat and the music, and John Rhys Davies showed up for a biscuit.
Everything felt like Rambo till that really disturbing ending for me, but it was all, even then, it was all kind of boring. But see, and there's the thing, we're reacting to things we've seen in the trailer, folks. Number one, this is why I have this bad feeling about Amy Waller-Bridge, whatever, which Harrison Ford is the reason why she's there. He's the one who was big gung-ho on bringing her in.
Right.
It looks like she's going to be a scene killer, like Jar Jar Binks level. Every time she's there, you're going to want to gnaw your own head off. Every time she's going to be, there's a line in there where she's dismissive of him, distant related or whatever, and she's being snarky, and she's going to be. Oh, by the way, I don't mind people being, contentious with each other. It's funny when Marion did it, but this is going to be her being superior to him and being better at everything, and that unbelievably stupid scene at the end of the teaser probably tells us all we need to know about how this movie is going to go. When I know they were trying to make some kind of joke on Indy pulling the gun on the guy in Raiders, where he starts swinging the whip at these 50 dudes at a table, and then he ducks under the table and they start shooting, and they don't even change the trajectory where they're shooting. They just keep shooting over his head. For some damn reason. It was so stupid.
Well, and as somebody who spent my whole life, learning how to crack bullwhips the way Harrison Ford was cracking bullwhips in Raiders of the Lost Ark. You can't do that with a whip that long in a room like that, where he's standing he's literally got like 3 feet maybe between the end of that table and the window behind him, and that table's jutting out like that. He couldn't do that with that whip in that room. There's no way.
Well, they don't have any, people like that who don't have any attention to details. You've so rightly pointed out earlier. They don't think about things like that. I doubt they brought any kind of expert in on who would know what you're talking about. They wouldn't care. They said, swing the whip at him, whatever. Just make it look like you're being an old man having a temper tantrum. Because
the whip now, ever since Indy 4, anytime the whip is in motion, the whip is CGI. Because there was some stupid the studio. This was back during Indy 4, and that wasn't Disney, but the studio system put a lot of pressure on them for safety concerns to make the whip digital. So if the whip is hanging off his belt or it's just in his hand and not moving, it's real. But a lot of times now when the whip is moving, it's not real.
That figures.
Yeah.
That scene was just so cringy. The shot, like we talked about, on the horse, really terrible. The one shot when he's wasn't there a scene that looked like it takes place in the 30s or 40s where he's wearing a Yahtzee uniform or something?
Yes, yeah.
That looked okay, I guess, for a split second though. We don't know how it would look like.
Yeah, it looked okay once he looked to camera, but as the thing comes off of his head, at first there's this kind of like morphing transition. I noticed it's kind of like, but yeah, I mean, obviously it looked fine once he looked at camera. Yeah,
but again, means nothing. They don't really. We don't know if all these rumors about whether it's time travel and she ends up replacing him and all this stuff is true or not.
Yeah,
but you know, these rumors out there, if they're true, and they're gonna by the end of the movie kill him and replace him with her, and people then, which is many some have. I don't know if you're familiar with that rumor, but it's been out there.
Yeah, I know Mangold's been like out there attacking the fans, saying it's not true.
He attacked Doomcock over it.
Yeah, and I'm going like, well, J.J. Abrams also said it wasn't Khan, and J.J. Abrams also
right.
You guys are. There's a lot of pressure on you guys from the studio to like not give up spoilers. So, which I hate that word. God, I almost threw up in my mouth a little bit when I said it. but it's there's so much pressure that you guys have been caught lying a lot, and also I wonder if it's going to be like a semantic thing where it's like, well, you guys, she didn't take over his identity. It's like, just but at the end,
or whatever.
What's that?
So just like the mantle or some kind of crap type deal?
Yeah, it's like if he's playing a semantic game and it's, well, she didn't actually take over his identity. It's like, yeah, but at the end she took his place. And we again, serial heroes. I'm not here to see Azrael take Batman's place in Batman 500. It doesn't go over well.
Yeah.
I want to see Bruce Wayne as Batman. I want to see, Indiana Jones, Henry Jones Jr. That's who I want to see. And preferably, I never needed to know he was a junior. I could have lived without his dad. Sure, I like Sean Connery in the film, but as we've talked about with serial heroes, they really don't need that kind of background. Like that we don't need to know what James Bond was like as a kid, and we don't need to know what kind of milk he liked to drink, and we don't need to know what kind of Weetabix he ate, and we don't need to know any of that. We don't. No. It's not that kind of character. So
there you go, man. Like I say, we'll see what happens. I mean, I don't know if you're even going to bother to watch it yourself. I'll watch it and I won't do like a big deal review of it, but I'll talk about it. And I'll sit, I'll sit through any old crap. But if there's anything good to say about it, I will. I promise everyone I will. I mean, but what we're reacting to is what we have in front of our eyes, which is the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
That they put it out there. This is all these many months, and I think they're putting it out there this early because some of the people are speculating. It's not speculation. Are saying stuff like maybe they're shooting a couple of different types of endings. Maybe they're like hedging. They want to see what people think. Maybe they float trial balloon type of rumors out there and if they are, that means that they probably were planning to do something really stupid. Remember what happened with No Time to Watch, which is the only movie that's at least technically called a James Bond movie that I've never watched and never will. I went and saw since 1973, Michael. I went on a double bill. It was the opening day for Live and Let Die, but before that, they were showing Diamonds Are Forever. I probably told you that before. And so I was just like a 9-year-old kid. I didn't understand why there were two different dudes playing. I thought there were two different movies. But anyway, so ever since then, I've seen every James Bond movie at the movie theater except that one, and I'm never going to go see I hate the Daniel Craig movies. Yeah. I went anyway, but not this time. But that was all the same deal. That got held up for years, and Phoebe Waller-Bridge's hands were all over that too. They brought her in to write it. No Time to Me Too, or whatever you want to call it. I mean, it was a mess, and this reeks of that a little bit.
Yeah, I was not a fan of the Craig era myself as well, which put me at odds with a lot of people who they like the latest and greatest. And I argue that, do you really understand what James Bond is? If you're saying as a 45-year-old man that Daniel Craig is the best Bond, like, are you really? Can I trust your? Oh wait, your favorite movie is Attack of the Clones. All right, never mind. I don't trust your opinion on anything. But you know, yeah, the moment I saw that they were like the ending of Casino Royale was so disappointing to me, because I was like, why is a Bond movie ending on a cliffhanger? The Bond films are supposed to wrap up. And they're like, oh no, that we're continuing this in another film. And I'm like, no, that's not what Bond is all about. It's like, this is not Jason Bourne. This is and I call him James Bourne. Like he's or Jason Bond. Like he is James Bond through the lens of the success of the Bourne identity. And it's too bad that they couldn't keep those two things separate. Like they didn't need to chase that fad. And I sat back the other day, last year, I think it was, and rewatched, much to my suffering. I rewatched all 4 of the previous Bond films.
Oh my goodness, dude.
Just so that I could watch No Time to Die in the comfort of my living room or my studio. And it was the most maudlin.
Oh, it sucked. I hate those movies.
Downer. Just, I was like,
I don't need to feel like shit after a James Bond movie. That's not what I signed up for.
Exactly. I don't need some super depressing, poignant, self-aggrandizing, oh, look how sublime we are. It's like, no, you're not. This is just that. I'm with you. I've never wanted to just eBay my discs faster. Like I just wanted to take the whole set. It's like each 4K of the Craig era, each one adult owned, no pets allowed around them, watched once, you know.
At least Casino Royale works as a decent sort of, you know, well done action film, but it's not Bond. It's like a Bourne movie, but it's still not Bond. And none of them. And I just think, God, I just can't get into them. It's not my Bond. And like I say, I will, like, from what you're telling me, I never need to watch No Time to Watch, as they call it. I mean, it was almost, if you told me like 10 years ago that, you know, there's going to be a James Bond movie that you won't go see in the theater, I'm like, nah, I see them all no matter what. I even went to see that horrible Spectre.
Yep.
But nope. You're not going to go. Well, you got it, because I'm not. And I'm not even going to watch it. I mean, it's available. It's on one of those freaking streaming services that I have. And I'm just like, I don't want to see this. Everyone's told me enough. I know enough about it, because I don't care about, I know you don't like the word. Spoilers don't bother me either, especially if it's a movie I don't give a rat's ass about.
Right.
And so I know what happens. So they could just forget about it.
When you have a history as long as you and I do with some of these properties, I got into a huge fight with a guy over this very thing back when Last Jedi came out. And I had written it off after, like, I got dragged to Force Awakens because Melinda said we need to see this so that when people ask us about it,
I remember
have an answer. Yeah.
Well, we had some fun with that, didn't we? Whew.
Oh, we did. That was a great show. But
that was fun.
But the funny part was that I said, well, I'm not going to see the rest of these. I'm not going to do it. She said, okay, no, that's fair. So Last Jedi comes out, and even before, in the days leading up to it, most of the plot had already finally unspooled. And, you know, I had it confirmed that Luke Skywalker died. And I had predicted, I think you and I even talked about this during.
We talked that night after we saw it. I think,
Force Awakens, our talk about Force Awakens, we both said, we both said that we were betting the farm that since Han Solo died in this one, that in the next two they would kill Leia and Luke. Like, and sure enough, that's what happened. So when they said Luke was dead, I was like, well, that's all I need to know. And this guy went up my ass about it because he was like, well, you haven't seen it. I said, right, but Luke is dead. They killed him in this movie, right? And he goes, well, yeah. I said, that's all I need to effing know. Like, to know that they've broken it. Like, and I said, and I was already mad about the way they ended Han Solo and the way all that was handled and all that stuff. He's like, but then he said, your voice has no value in this conversation.
Ugh.
And I went, hate to break it to you, asshole. I said, but when it's a piece of information as fundamentally pivotal as that recontextualizes the whole experience of the story, if I've got a history with this and I know this isn't the way it should go, and you introduce that mousetrap into that landmine into the dynamic, I don't need to see your BS story after that. I don't need to see it to know that it's broken everything.
Right.
And they don't.
It's a special case.
Yeah. Yeah.
For example, most movies, sure, you can say, well, a friend of mine said that wasn't any good, so I didn't bother watching. Okay, well, you should watch it. You never know. You might like it. Yeah, fair enough. I might, but that's fine. But if you were to tell me, if you stood out in front of the theater when I was dumb enough to walk into it to watch The Last Jedi and said, all right, look, and again, I think I knew Luke was going to die, but it wasn't not so much die. That's not what, look, in the first 5 seconds of this movie, you're going to be so pissed off that you're going to want to just, destroy the universe. And here's what he does because see, to hell with him dying. They could have, in a good movie, you could kill a character and do something good, theoretically. When they said, look, if they'd said that, I'd be like, okay, maybe I should go see this thing. My blood pressure can take so much. But like a jackass, I went to see it. And sure enough, in the first 2 seconds, he does one of the most disgusting things. Now, there are more disgusting things to come in the film, don't get me wrong. But when he throws the lightsaber over his shoulder, if I'd been near the sumbitch, I'm not going to talk about committing violence. I'm just going to say, I said, what? And we're sitting fairly close to the front. That's where my son and I went to.
Right.
I said, what in the mother? I won't. I yelled, though, folks. Let's just put it like this. I said, you've got to be friggin' kidding me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Effing kidding me.
Yeah.
Trying to behave. And from there, it's downhill. Well, you're that pissed off at the beginning of a movie, dude. And then, of course, it just got worse and worse. I said, I've never, of course, even sniffed near it again. I can't even sit through it. It's a couple of years back, my buddy Flash and I, we did our top most hated movies, not worst movies ever, hated movies. And I've got it into my top 3 or 4. I don't know if I have it I fluctuate between that and Fan Stick and Man of Steel, and Jar Jar Drek 09. So yeah, it's filth. It's absolute trash. But yeah, if all you need to know, if it's something you're that close to, and someone tells you the quote unquote plot, or let's just say happenings in the movie, you know enough to go, I don't want to see that. So,
right. Yeah. I know for a fact, based on my experience with this story, that this was already this new story cycle was already launched very poorly. And after I saw episode 7, I told Melinda, I said, there's too many places for this to go, and Abrams did not prep this story properly. It's clear they're making it up as they go, and they have no rails on this at all. So now the next film is going to be an unmitigated disaster, and sure enough, it was. And I don't have to subject myself to that to know that it's wrong.
I don't have to open the toilet to know what goes in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, what it's for. You know what's at the bottom of there. You don't have to look. So,
right. Yeah.
And this one, this again, it's not like we didn't have some warning.
Right. And I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, but you can sit through something if you want to sit there and subject yourself to it. But why would you? I mean,
that's what it became.
I do it, but not at the theater anyway. Now I don't know. I'm sorry. I guess I'm lying to you, Michael, because I've forced myself to go see some of these freaking Marvel movies recently. So
yeah, and I'm
the last one to talk.
I sat through No Time to Die, not because I care less about Bond than I do about Luke Skywalker, but because I guess I hadn't read enough about it to be certain what was going to happen. And so but I'll tell you this, the last 2/3 of that movie were so arduously I'm not even going to say that they weren't without action, but even with the action, it felt slow. and ponderous and like just, and I was actually looking at my phone and then I almost fell asleep at one point. Like the film wasn't enjoyable. It was a chore. It was a cinematic chore that I resented subjecting myself to. And, you know.
No. Why? Exactly. It is too short to put up. That's going to, you know, by the way, Drew G did ask us a point. You and I have talked about, we've ranked the Marvel movies twice, actually. From order from, you know, worst to first. He's asking if we ever done it with 007. That's a good idea. We have done on my old BTR, we have done our favorite like top 10 Bond films, but as far as ranking them, we haven't done that. That might be fun. You know,
yeah,
someday.
I'm up for it.
Yep. Because we've both seen them all except for one. I'm gonna recuse myself of the responsibility of seeing one of them, called No Time to Watch. But I'll just I'll put an asterisk by it. But
that's fine.
I'm kidding. I would sit through it if we were gonna, if we do that. I guess I could.
I would not force you to do that. I really wouldn't. I would let you put that on the list however you wanted.
I will put it right at the bottom of the barrel. So, so yeah, look, this, you know, you live long enough, you can have almost everything that you love trashed and destroyed, and you know, what are you going to do other than just kind of hope that something good pops through, comes, you know. It just seems everything gets ruined. You and I have been talking about these Marvel movies every now and then. Man,
I know. Talk about
depressing.
I was going to do a big thought piece on it, but I was going to call it Marvel Phase Meh. But the thing is that they kept making stuff faster than I could get my thoughts together.
Yeah.
And I was finally like, I can't, I was like, I can't even pull it together fast enough to do this. And they've already done something else that's staggering. So it's like,
yep. They've done movies and they've done all these shitty TV shows. And I was like, I mean, let's see here. We've got, let's see. I think did we do that after? Did we do our last time? Yeah, we did. We did have the Spider-Man, that last Spider-Man movie on there. Yeah. So the only thing that wasn't out or was Love and Blunder out by the time we did it? No.
Oh, it wasn't.
Okay. So it's a piece of trash anyway.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Have you sat through that garbage?
Oh yeah, I sat through it at my house, no less. And here's my stupidity. Because I'm a physical media guy, like I get into this. I was trying to keep up with the Marvel stuff. I was on the cycle.
Oh, yes.
I was on the cycle of, while everybody else is watching the latest movie in the theater, I'm watching the previous one that just came out on disc. Because I was just buying them and watching them because it's cheaper than probably actually going and getting a drink and something to eat at the theater. Well, after Love and Thunder, knowing that I have no interest in Black Panther 2, I was like, I'm not buying that. Like my Marvel thing has kind of cut off at this point. It's like, that was the last straw, was Thor Love and Thunder. I was like, nope. I'm done. I'm out. Like, unless you do something really amazing, like, but I doubt it. I will. It's now on a case by case.
They're not capable.
No.
Let's see. I watched. Let's see here. I hate every single TV show they've done, except I did sort of enjoy Werewolf by Night, the Halloween special. Was a little fun, and I gotta say I did kind of enjoy the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special thing. It wasn't that. I mean, it was short.
Right.
It was cute enough. I don't know if you saw it, but it's okay.
Yeah, I heard about it. It was like James Gunn's homage to the Star Wars holiday special or something.
In some ways, maybe. Yeah, it's fun though. I mean, if you like those Guardians movies, if you like those movies, it's cool. If you're not into those Guardians movies, then you won't really care that much. And then they have a trailer for the. In addition to the one of the trailer we were just talking about, I don't know if you saw the trailer for Guardians 3.
I haven't yet. No.
It's tough to get really stoked about anything anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like everyone's saying how they can't wait for it. It looks really good with this, that, and the other. I'm going, it might be pretty good, but I have a feeling he's going to do I mean, Warlock looks terrible. Adam Warlock looks horrible. He looks like garbage.
Right.
And it looks like they're going to be probably killing somebody. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Or killing a couple of characters.
Right.
So I don't know. Who knows? But the thing is, there was a time when I would get excited about these movies, even if that
Right.
turns out to be okay. If a good one slips through the cracks once in a while, I'll be like, yeah, that was fine. But what about all the other shitty ones?
Right. Like I think I told you that Melinda and I we were subjecting ourselves to Miss Marvel, and
yeah, I think you said that. Oh shit.
Melinda, because of her Mystery Science Theater background, which I grew up on Mystery Science Theater too, but she's like a Mystery Science Theater super fan.
Yes,
So
yes.
she
Love it.
really plugs into the spirit of that show and everything. So she loves like when we get to the holidays, she will spend her time like making a list of all the new crappy Christmas movies that are on all the streaming services, and she'll watch them just continuously. And it's because she loves watching bad content and laughing about it, whatever. So I guess what I'm trying to say that as a disclaimer is that Melinda has a really high tolerance for bad stuff. Melinda exploded watching Miss Marvel. Like Melinda leaned forward on the couch and she was like, "This character is so stupid." Like she literally yelled. Melinda cannot stand a hero that doesn't have a brain cell. Like she needs a hero that is smart enough to earn the title of hero and be called, a superhero. And she was like, the characterization of this because Melinda, she loves stuff that's set in high school. So she loves Veronica Mars, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. She really has, if her specialty in media was anything, it's stories set in high school. Like, so Miss Marvel should have started out with a kind of beneficial handicap for Melinda because it's a high school based thing, right? No.
Sure. Okay. Sure. Makes sense.
I mean, from like episode 2, or really 1, but 2 especially, she was like, this character is dim. She was like, I cannot stand it. I cannot stand how this character's not getting there fast enough. She's not plugging into, and she lost it. She lost it. Which I thought was pretty funny.
That's the only one I didn't watch. You know what?
Yeah, I mean, you're not missing that much.
Did you guys watch the whole thing?
Yeah, we saw the whole thing. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I can't. My list is incomplete because it's the only one I haven't watched. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I wasn't saying anything important. Go ahead.
No. I ranked the movies and I ranked the shows, and I had to leave that that off. I didn't watch that, so it's incomplete. But if you count that one, and if you count the 2 specials and all the Disney minus shows, there's 17 freaking shows. That's over the past 2 years, dude.
Yeah, I know. They're cranking them out like cornflakes. Yeah.
So my lowest rated, I hated She-Hulk the most. But and of course, I'm counting I'm sorry, not 17 because I counted the Netflix shows because they're Marvel Universe shows. Excuse me, not 17 because So, but let's see. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 already. Excuse me, 10. Okay, right. My bad. 10 though, still, dude. Since hey, Ted Miller, it's good to see you. Since 2021. Since WandaVision started, they're 10 now.
Right. Yes.
That's insane.
You and I, Mike, we have a history that goes way back, and you and I have that relationship that I feel like I wish everybody in fandom had, where we can talk about all this stuff, and it's just like we just talk about this stuff. And you know me well enough to know when I'll throw myself on my sword, and you can probably hear it in my voice. So I'm about to throw myself on my sword here.
Oh, it's all right.
Yeah, it's okay. This will be the most. This will be the most.
I do it all the time. So
yeah. I want everybody to listen to what I'm about to say, because what I'm about to say is not me defending my opinion. It's not me trying to win you over. I'm just going to state it and then let it be there. Okay. And this is
it
not
always
me,
should be, buddy.
yeah, this is not me trying to convince any of you of my thoughts, because I know, okay, that I was unexpectedly in a minority opinion on this. All right.
I've been there, buddy. You're good. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Mike,
Mhm.
if for some reason we're not friends after I say this, because you can't respect me anymore, I understand.
Oh,
I'll be
good Lord.
heartbroken. I'll be heartbroken, but I understand. All right. But no, I want everybody to know this is not me trying to sell you on an idea. This is not me trying to convince you. I'm not trying to drag you into an argument. Nothing. All right. I just want to throw this out there basically so everybody can laugh. All right. And we all enjoy each other. Right. Okay. So here we go.
Go for it.
Okay. I was one of those rarefied kids that liked all the weird comics. So like in mainstream, like Marvel, DC, I wasn't like that kid that was like looking for Flaxen number 24 or whatever it was. But like I wasn't reading independent books, but I was reading like, Marvel and DC stuff. So like in the 90s, early 90s, as much as I was reading Spider-Man's titles, because I mean it's Spider-Man, and I was reading Superman, but I was also reading Excalibur, and I was reading Jem Bellent's Catwoman, and I was reading John Byrne's She-Hulk, right? Now, I want everybody to understand, I was already very much in Marvel phase meh. I think the whole phase is meh. It wiped me out. So like after I saw Black Widow and I laughed my way through the whole thing, because what the hell was that movie? Like, what the hell was that movie?
He's kidding, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
No, you would never do that to me.
No, not at all. I have too much.
Gotcha. Go ahead.
Yeah. So like I was already just like, whatever. Marvel's not taking itself seriously anymore. None of this matters. Like I was really saying that to Melinda. I was like, none of this matters anymore. Like there's no gravitas to it anymore. There's no Avengers Infinity War, anything. I mean, I told you how much Doctor Strange 2 disappointed me, because how much I love the first Doctor Strange.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Sure. So we were all just kind of, I was adrift. All right. And I had watched WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki, Miss Marvel. Like we'd been going through them. I think the only one besides Moon Knight I haven't seen is Hawkeye, and that's only because I don't even remember how that got skipped over.
That sucks.
Yeah, I heard it was just as whatever as the rest of them. So I sit back and we turn on She-Hulk. Now, I'm not going to say that She-Hulk lit my world on fire. I'm not going to say that She-Hulk is the greatest thing since sliced bread. People like have these polarized ideas now that when you say like, it was okay, I didn't mind it, like everybody else is real mad about it, I didn't really mind it, they think that means you loved it like you love Raiders of the Lost Ark. And it's like, no, come on, people. This is not the Living Daylights with Timothy Dalton, okay? I don't want you to insult me that way, all right? Like, let's be real. What I sat back and just unexpectedly realized as I was like 4 episodes in was that I was kind of taking it the same way I took the John Byrne comic, which was you weren't supposed to take it seriously. It really didn't. The John Byrne comic didn't really have an effect on the actual Marvel universe. It was this like meta commentary on the comic books. And so this show was trying to be meta commentary on the MCU, and it was trying to like thread that needle. And so when I got through it, I heard about all this backlash, and I was like, I just kind of thought it was a funny, dumb comedy. I didn't realize it was all that. So what I'm saying is that I just kind of like got through it, and I was like, well, all right. So I feel dumb because all my friends are like, that show's horrible. And I'm like, oh shit, I got to run for cover. Cause like, I didn't take it that way. Like I'm like, oh God,
#cancel Michael.
Yeah. Right. And like, I'm not campaigning for the show or anything like that. Like, I'm not like, I understand, because the reason I understand why people didn't like the show and why I'm not like fighting them in the comment sections of any of this stuff is because that was the same group of people, not all the same, but a lot of the people that aren't liking the show is almost proportionate to the number of people who were like, I never picked up an issue of Sensational She-Hulk. It wasn't really my thing. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay, it makes sense. So like, I just feel like I'm reliving, that it's kind of like, oh, all right, well, that's cool.
No,
whatever.
I gotcha.
Yeah, but I don't like. I get why people don't like it. Like, I get it.
Look, dude. I mean, we do it all the time right here. There's always somebody like something. In fact, I can't remember right now what it is. But just last week, I don't know if it was one on our Saturday night Star Trek or something. It was something that I knew I was going to get crap over that I liked, and I did it anyway. It was an episode. I can't remember what it was when we were reviewing these. I don't know, whatever it was that I liked that everyone hated. This happened to me a few times on there. Everyone thinks it's like the worst shitty episode of. Like, I like that one. What the hell's wrong with me? It's happened. It happens to everybody. Now I didn't even, that burn run you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to the character She-Hulk, these are the stages I went. I don't know if we've ever even talked about this. I bought the first issue of Savage She-Hulk, which was the first run.
Yep.
With Stan Lee's name on it. I almost believe he probably did actually write the story because it was pretty dumb and derivative. He just did it so he could protect the copyright of a female version of the Hulk. So it had great art by John Buscema. But anyway, I bought it for like that issue because John Buscema did the art and it looked kind of okay. And at the time it was 1980, I bought it because it was something different. Usually I didn't buy girl comics. I was that kind of kid. Sorry, ladies, I love you. But I was a 15-year-old boy who just bought, didn't buy Wonder Woman that much or anything like that. I bought Spider-Woman, Wonder Woman once in a while, but I bought I bought the Hulk comic, but I thought this was an interesting idea. I bought it. But after that, stopped buying it, didn't collect the whole run of 25 issues or whatever it was of Savage She-Hulk. And then I just thought I wasn't a fan either way. Then John Byrne comes along and sticks her in Avengers first. Then he sticks her in the Fantastic Four. I know it was Shooter's fault, still pisses me off. And I became really annoyed with her. So when she got her own series, dude, I wasn't buying it.
Right.
But I would flip it every now and then. And everyone was going nuts at how great it was. It was really, to me, it was just like Marvel just trying to rip off Ambush Bug from DC.
Sure. And oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go.
No, please.
Oh, I was just gonna say that. So I had no dog in the hunt with the character, but I do realize that over time, a lot of youngsters who were around your young age at the time, and grew up loving the character, loving the character, and of course being very young boys about it. Very very hot, unbelievably hot, tall green chick. They're very much for the libidos of young boys, and John Byrne exploited that in the comic, and I grew a respect for it. It was funny. It was funny what he did with the comic. And then later there were other runs. People say that this show is more like the Slott run. It's really not much like the Byrne run, really. But it's just if it were fairly faithful to those runs, I'd have liked it more. I just hated the way that they used it for messaging and stuff like that and everything. But I don't know. I hated it, but now I forgot about it. So I was like, it's to me, it's like you say, it just doesn't mean much. It's just like, I hate it, but I don't spend a lot of time hating it. It's the movies that aggravate me the more, but because he's a character I was never big into anyway.
Yeah, exactly. That's my whole point. That's exactly what I was getting at or trying to get at. And you said it better, which was, I don't really think about it. It didn't really matter. It didn't really, it's whatever. And that's the whole thing. I see comments here, like people are asking like, did you like twerking She-Hulk? Please say no that you didn't or whatever. And I was kind of like,
oh, the twerk thing.
Yeah, and I'm kind of I'm just kind of sitting there like, Lord. The only answer I really have is it didn't really one way or the another. It didn't really it's hard to get incensed by a character that I learned in the comics. I was taught, in other words, John Byrne taught me how to receive this character, is that this character's hijinks are like the police squad / Naked Gun of the Marvel universe. So they really don't matter. And it's all just kind of like making fun of the medium. And so I was kind of like, yeah, all right, whatever. Like, this is kind of what I expected. And I think that's the other thing too, is that unlike a lot of the other shows that I was watching where they might have had a twist, or I'm not even qualifying whether or not I like the twist or not necessarily, but they had some meat to them. Like, you know, Loki was kind of fun the first few episodes, and then it really got dumb, but you were kind of along for it and kind of whatever. There was always this thing that happened where I didn't really know what to expect from these shows because I wasn't sure what the MCU was going to look like as Disney Plus shows. I wasn't sure where they were going to take these characters. So with this one, because I had the experience with the comic book, even though people say, well, of course it's going to be different from the comic book because it's 30 years later, or 35 years later, or whatever. But still, the tone and everything, I was shocked that it was actually kind of exactly what I expected it to be. And so it was kind of like, yeah, this is what I expected. And I just walked away from it like, whatever. Like, and everybody else is like, ah! And I'm like, oh, I missed out on the nuclear war again. Crap.
You know, look, the twerking shit I didn't give it. I mean, it was stupid, but who cares? I mean, again, silly humor and you're absolutely right. The silly humor is not a problem. Anything silly, I don't care about that. I don't care about twerking. I care about what they did to Daredevil. I care about I care about the fact that they actually, these idiot people who wrote the show came out after it. I mean, I don't like Kevin Feige,
right?
But they came out and in the trade papers and started admitting that they did this show to attack their critics, quote unquote, their fans. Or, I mean the trolls. In other words, if you're a Marvel fan who criticizes them, you're a troll.
Sure,
that's how these people, how mature they are. So they actually admitted that this whole show, everything they did was to attack. Remember, they made the fanboys the bad guys. And all
right.
They said they did that to attack people who criticize them. Like, wow, that's the level that we're dealing with here. I mean, to me, I think that's pathetic. And I have to think, if I'm even as dumb as Disney is right now, and even as dumb as Feige, even then, I'm kind of like, you know what, guys, you're not really supposed to say that in the press. You have no plausible deniability yet. Now, when they come out and say, you guys are hearing all your critics and you don't like the people who criticize you, and you go after the YouTubers and you go after the people online, now you've admitted it. You're not supposed to admit it, stupid. But they're so dumb. And then another one, right after that, another one of the writers, the showrunners said that they wanted to make a show that was sexual, but that children can watch. I'm like, you're putting the word sexual and children in the same sentence. You people have degenerate shit.
Yeah, that doesn't work at all. Yeah, so, I freely admit that doesn't work. That
stuff. Yeah. That kind of stuff. And other than that, I mean, look, quirking, who cares? I don't like what they did to Daredevil. Ugh. But and I'm not talking about the yellow suit, yellow costume.
Right. You're talking about how he was characterized. Yeah.
And the walk of shame stuff. I don't like the way they handled Abomination. I don't like the way but like you said, it's a comedy. I don't like the way Hulk was handled. But I don't care because, like you say, it is like an issue of She-Hulk. It shouldn't really count. If the current MCU that's now, I'm sorry, it really is the MCU. If it were still in a decent state and they did something like that, I'd be like, whatever. But to be honest, it's all garbage now anyway. So what's one more thing that kind of embarrasses it?
And that was my biggest criticism of the show was there at the very end, because when they bring in Sklar or whatever his name is,
his son.
Yeah, his son. I went,
son.
Yeah, I looked over at Melinda and I said, "Hold on a second." And she goes, "What?" And she said, "Do you know who that is?" I said, "No, that's not really what I'm referring to." I said, I'm referring to the fact that they're now trying to use this show as a vehicle to further the MCU's overarching story. I said, that's a misuse of everything that the She-Hulk sensational comic and anything that She-Hulk's done in a standalone book, not including the original Savage She-Hulk run, is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a standalone thing that doesn't really affect the rest of the MCU all that much. And I said, so for them to do that, I told her this during the last episode. I said, ooh, that maybe they don't understand what they were working with here, because She-Hulk's show should not in any way impact the broader narrative, whether you're talking about the Marvel comics or the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And that, if they drag that in, and they probably will, that will be a major mistake.
Like Planet Hulk stuff.
Yeah, because that was when I started to look back and go, because I thought, for example, with the Daredevil thing, I was like, well, this isn't the real Daredevil. So it's the She-Hulk meta universe Daredevil. It doesn't. But then when that Sklar guy showed up at the end of whatever his name was, I went, oh, Well, if they do that, then that means that they've really messed up. Like, and they will have undercut both intents at that point, and that's not good.
Well, dude, that confession wasn't so bad. It was. I mean, it's not like you said you went and bought a HasLab and back to HasLab or anything. No, have been like cancel
again,
Michael.
No, and again, like, yeah, like I'm not sitting around acting like if I was, I would want you to beat me up, like in the comment, like verbally. If I was to say something to the effect of like, you know, oh, I loved the She-Hulk show so much, it's now second to The Empire Strikes Back as my favorite thing ever. I would want you to think that I was going crazy. Like, I'd want you to be like, Mike, like, what's the deal here? But no, that's not what I'm saying. No. What I'm saying is that, like, it was exactly everything I expected it to be, and that's something I'm not used to in the MCU phase anymore. So I'm kind of like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right. I wasn't. All right, cool. But
I hear you, man.
Yeah.
And you know, oh, by the way, it's Scuba Pete's birthday. Look at that.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Scuba Pete, happy birthday, old timer. Nah, I know you're not as old as me, buddy, but sorry. Hello, Donnie Pearson. Good to see you. Oh, he said it's not only, of course, was it National Pearl Harbor Day, it was the 43rd anniversary of my wonderful Star Trek The Motion Picture. To see, you don't like that movie, and I love it, and you never give me any grief over it, so it's only fair, right?
What's that?
Motion picture.
Oh, I don't hate the motion picture.
I know you don't hate it, but I mean, you never like give me any shit over for loving it. I mean,
no. Well, you and Melinda are in that camp together. She loves the motion picture.
I love it, man. And I've loved it. It's. I mean, look, you may not know this. It was how I got started as a Star Trek fan. So,
that makes it even more important.
I started late, dude. You know, I started because I never got to see the show that much from reruns, and you know, until building up to 1979 when Marvel Super Special comic adaptation of Star Trek The Motion Picture came out, and I was seeing all those Star Trek The Motion Picture ads on the back of comics, Marvel comics or whatever. And then I was like, what? Oh my goodness, I never got to see the show much. So, you know, of course I went to the movie and was just blown away. And then they started running the reruns. We got a VHS and I started recording it. The rest is, you know, Trek history. So really, unlike comics and other things, I'm a late. I've been a Star Trek fan since like 1979, basically, which is late since I'm old. But, you know, better late than never. But I just realized this year marks 40 years as a Doctor Who fan. So,
wow,
I've loved Doctor Who, boy. You know,
this would probably be. This is definitely sometime around this last half of the year would be the 40th anniversary of me as a Star Wars fan.
Oh, wow. So there you go.
Yeah.
Yep. It's funny how that, I mean, like I said, but I'm a latecomer to Star Trek, I guess, comparatively speaking.
Oh, you know? Eric, if you clip that out of context.
Eric's evil. He wouldn't do that. Eric's a good friend. You heard it first clip. Red Wrestling said She-Hulk is second to you. Oh, yeah. He does that to me. You think that's bad what he did to you? He's always, we make fun of Wesley here a lot. So shocker. We hate Wesley Crusher. And he's always telling people I'm the biggest Wesley fan and stuff. And I have a Wesley shrine and all that crap. He's a big joker. So, yeah, we always tease each other around here. But look, at least you didn't back a HasLab like some suckers I know in this audience. And I'm not going to out you to Michael because Michael will execute you. Just kidding. I do know people that did.
Oh, that's funny.
How about this for a confession, Michael, to make you feel better?
Okay.
If I could have afforded it, I would have probably not been able to stop myself backing the Galactus one.
I can see that.
I'm sorry. I would call you and ask you to forgive me.
But you know what? You love that character and everything so much. Like that had such an impact on you that I can see that. Like
Mighty Orbots. Yeah. Mighty Orbots is here. Hello. Yeah, I mean, I did, and the thing is, I couldn't, but I would have. I mean, but I'm with you on how crappy the whole concept is. I mean, not that some of the products may or may not be good, but by the way, did you know that they fell through on their stupid Ghost Driver one?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Your old toys. First of all, it's stupid anyway. I mean, the car looks cool, but it's not just because it's expensive. That's a dumb. I hate Ghost Driver anyway. He's supposed to be on a freaking motorcycle.
Yes.
Well, I mean, the car's cool and all that stuff, but to hell with that.
Well, that car should not cost $350. Like
And,
Galactus can cost $350, $400 because of how big it is and how intricate it is. I get that. I would prefer that it was just a pre-order because plenty of people would have bought Galactus. They didn't need to crowdfund that.
No, they didn't.
But
absolutely, because you know how well that thing did.
Oh yeah, it did. It did gangbusters. Yeah, that's why you want to look at these companies and go, really? You felt that had to be crowdfunded to mitigate risk? Really?
It's out. And there's another good point about that. Galactus is such, again, like you said, that's something that they had to know they didn't need to do that. Or just like a Sentinel, they didn't have to do that with the Sentinel,
right?
Either. It's outrageous. I mean, if I still don't support it, but doing it with something more obscure, at least, you know. But they would, like, for example, they don't have to do it with a Jabba sail barge. There was no reason to do that.
No, not at all. And I mean, they didn't have to do it with the Sentinel really either, because that's X-Men related, so that's going to go.
The Sentinel, you don't have to do that with.
Yeah.
But I have a good friend of mine that I think, you know, if you want to beat up on somebody who has backed one of those things to make you feel better about She-Hulk, Mark D with the C, get in here, dude. I want to introduce you. Like, there, my chief. He's the chief engineer of Clobbering Times.
Is that why you sent me the link to get me into trouble?
I want you to get beat up on by Retro. Michael, Michael. I just wanted you guys to meet because you know, I've been keeping you here for a long time here, Michael. I know.
No, I'm fine. I'm really fine. I'm good.
And will you forgive me, Michael, if eventually Mark here's going to do an unboxing of that and he wants me to join him? So, I remember when he asked me that, I'm like, yeah, but then Michael's going to see me participating in this evil of.
You know what? It's fine. You know, I had a sail barge as a HasLab here by the grace of an Australian person that couldn't get it to Australia.
Right. Oh, and great story.
And he wanted me to keep it. And I just told him, I said, there are so many ethical reasons, both for your sake and mine, why I cannot do that. And I was like, you know, we got to move this along. But I had said many times, if it had been a pre-order or had been sold in a store, I'd have bought one. Like,
gorgeous. It was gorgeous.
It was unbelievable. That story, by the way, let me say thank you to Eric K. By the way, thank you for the $5 super chat, bro. He says Clobby's favorite time of the year. He gets to decorate his Wesley Christmas tree with all the Wesley ornaments and the Wesley angel on top. Well, it is a tree up Wesley's ass, so that's something. See what I have to put up with?
I mean that.
That was a fantastic story, though. The whole
that was amazing.
For those who don't know, I want to, if we can, get a link to that video that Michael did about the sail barge. If any of you have not seen that, and we don't have to, unless Michael wants to tell the story because he's told it a million times. I don't want to make you do it. You should see his video on the Retro Blasting page about Jabba's sail barge. It's a fantastic. Dude, that's really truly an inspiring story.
Oh well, thanks. And what I want to add to that is just simply that I've never had a problem with any of the items that they were offering as part of the HasLab. I have a problem with the HasLab
concept.
Like I would have happily had an X-Men Sentinel or a Galactus or any one of those things. I just don't want a big corporation like that can already they come out there to get you to back it by having most of the work already done. So they've already decided, hey, we're going to develop this thing to a point where we can actually promote it to see if we can get it back. It's like, then why don't you just put your money where your mouth is and make it a pre-order and just let it ride?
Hey, like that's capitalism. That's what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah,
exactly. Risk is called risk. Risk is our business, Mr.
That's my day job is manufacturing. My dad was an inventor, so I mean, God, we would have loved to have been able.
Tell him what your dad invented.
Well, the rotor split to cut BX cable. If you're an electrician, you would know that.
Oh, okay,
it's a very specialty tool, but it's the all-American story. Came here, not speaking English, sold the first house. He put an ad in the New York Times. It was like 2 lines, like send $9.99 to 61 Marlin Drive, rotor split BX cutter, and he got orders for like 500. So then he sold the house and started the business. So I grew up in manufacturing, and I mean that would be amazing if you could crowdfund a new
Thank you,
tool,
Steven.
because you spend, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars sometimes developing a new product and the molding, and to be able to, you know, they're a $1 billion company, to be able to do that. I mean, it's you know, they don't need to do it. That's what Kickstarter's for, you know, a small business, or like my dad when he was starting that Roto Split, you know, that'd been great for someone starting up, but for a multi-billion-dollar company to hold your money for a year. I mean, we take money for a down payment when we make a specialty custom machine that takes, you know, 6 months to build, and we'll charge the customer, you know, X percentage of the cost of the machine, because we have to buy all the parts and it's a down payment. But that's a little bit different scenario. But for a company like that, and they get to make money off your money for that whole time too. So it's a great business model for them.
For them. Let me tell everybody though. Actually, I don't know if it is. It makes them look bad in the long run. But Steven has the link there. Everyone, please, if you have not, if you want to see an amazing story. Well, he has many fantastic videos on retroblasting. That is the best, and great, amazingly produced videos. The Jabba sail barge, which was, of course, what we're talking about here, it was crowdfunded by Hasbro. Those poor little broke people who couldn't afford to make their own little. They crowdfunded it, and a gentleman from Australia ordered it and couldn't have it. They couldn't send it to him. The jerkweeds, and he didn't want it to go to nowhere, so he had it sent to Michael of retroblasting, much unbeknownst to him, right?
Yeah.
And the rest of the story is just fascinating. How he actually brought it to him. It's the Jabba's sail barge story, and here's the link right there. Thank you, Stephen Callell, for putting that. Please go check out that video. It's extraordinary.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I was blown away when I first watched that. Yeah, that was very cool. Taking that all the way to Australia, not an easy thing to transport.
No. You know, Michael, right after you did that, I was at a con, like a small one here in town. I mean, it could have been a couple of months after you did that, and somebody had a barge sitting there. And I went up to the table, started talking to the guy about it, and I told him about your video. Like he didn't understand, he didn't know. He's just somebody sold it to him.
Right.
How he got it.
Wow.
He didn't even know about that. So.
Yeah, it's weird that these kind of things kind of fly under the radar. And, you know, the HasLab thing has been funny because, you know, the next big Star Wars one was the Mandalorian Razor Crest ship. And I remember that they announced it like 3 days before they blew it up on the show. And so, or no, it was 3 days. Or no, I'm sorry.
Wasn't it crowdfunded and then they blew up the ship, or it was something?
Yeah, like that's right. It was 3 days after they had met the crowdfund and the window was over, and then they blew up the ship, and everybody was now on the hook for this ship that no longer existed. And I was like, wow.
Dad, man, what's up? And then to be honest, I didn't really think much of that ship.
Me neither. It looked like a really bulky toaster with some Dixie cups on the side.
It was. What is it with Mandalorians with ships that look like household appliances?
Yeah, right.
Alejandro, and the answer to your question is easy. I hate Wesley way more than I hate Adric. At least Adric had the decency to get killed by Cybermen. And I did, although. True story. I was running a comic shop when Adric got killed, and I held a Death of Adric party, and I'm not kidding.
Ouch.
Anyway, so
unfortunately, Wesley made an appearance in the latest season of P-Hard, so I'm sure you missed that,
doesn't he? He deserves it, doesn't he? Oh man. So
well, I did have one thing to show. We'll see what's more accurate. Well, yeah. Do you think the Mr. Potato Head is more accurate than the new indie costume, or
what is that? Oh, that's an old one. Yeah. Oh,
well,
you're talking about the costumes he was showing us. Yes, Mr. Potato looks way better.
You see, this is where things get weird. Okay, so I now have to do some illustrative show and tell. Sure. You guys talk for 1 minute. I'm grabbing something. I know exactly where it is, right over here.
Okay.
It'll prove my point. Stand by.
Where'd you get the Mr. Potato Head one?
Oh, I bought that years ago because Indy is one of my favorites, and with my dad, that was one of the things that he'd make fun of most of the stuff that I collected. It was crap. It's crap. Mark, why are you buying that crap? But he loved Indiana Jones because it reminded him of the serials that he would see in the 40s as a kid, and he told me, to spend all day there. And then when Raiders of the Lost Ark came out, he was like, well, this is just like being back in the movie theater all day and sneaking. When he said what they would do, they would just, they pay once and they just sneak in and out multiple times. So, whenever I saw something indie, I'd buy one and buy one for myself. So, yeah.
Focus, you dumb thing.
Oh, wow. Look at this.
Okay, hold on. Let me get this stupid camera to focus. Hold on.
That's cool.
Always needs more light. Camera, why are you so broken all the time?
Whoa.
I always have to get like real. There we go.
Now you're focusing.
Okay.
There you go.
Cool. Okay. So this doll is from the same line as the one that you took a picture of. It is the Cairo doll versus the one that you have, which is the Idol Grab doll. Now, this one oddly came with the shoulder bag, and yours came with the jacket. Now, this is obviously, from the thing in Cairo, but you have to ask yourself, why, if they've already made the shoulder bag, would they not also give that shoulder bag to the one that you bought?
That I have, yeah.
So, like, it's like some dolls got some pieces and some dolls got others. And it's like, it doesn't make no sense.
Save 30 cents, I guess, right? Or whatever.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. It's really silly.
That looks cool though. This is from a while back, right? This
is from the 2008.
Okay.
Yeah. And mine has got the stupid whip thing is ripping off the bottom because this whip is rubber. So this little like thingy is popping off, and
that's pretty cool though.
Yeah.
The one I have actually talks. Yeah, I can play some of the phrases after, but yeah, the indie that I have talks, and his mouth actually moves when you press the button.
Because that's not the least bit creepy.
Yeah, it was totally creepy. And then I went to do a video on it a few days, and I'm like, did his mouth just move? Because I didn't notice it.
Didn't know that all the time.
Yeah, and then
holy shit! But if you take your damn figures out of the friggin' boxes, god dang it! Like I always tell you to do. It's a good look. It's a great. Oh shit! That is gonna give me nightmares. What is wrong with you?
Yeah, see that ain't good.
Let me. I'll turn off my audio here or the filter that I have so you can hear the thing. Let's see. Otherwise, it blocks it out. Yeah, here. Dialogue. The sound effects are great though.
Okay, go ahead.
I think we got a big problem. Archaeology is the search for facts.
True.
Trust me. I don't know. I'm making this up as I go. Fortune
and
glory, kid. Fortune and glory.
So they're mixing movies.
Jungle, sweetheart. No ticket. My name is
all
Jones.
3 movies.
Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes? Oh, rats. I hate these guys. I think we got a big problem. Archaeology is the search for.
Oh my goodness!
It's pretty good though. It's
this
cool.
one has a sound effect, but it's just the sound of kangaroo leather destroying somebody. So,
okay.
And his
cool.
arm is
so it does have a sound then.
Yeah, can you hear it?
Yeah. Oh, cool. He doesn't talk though.
That's cool. Yeah.
Thank God he keeps his mouth shut. But the funny thing about this is that remember we were talking earlier about the shoulder bag in the new movie being backwards. So they have the bag on the correct side, but
Harrison Ford voodoo dolls.
But they screwed up on the strap, and the strap buckles on the back.
Oops.
And there's no way to
foreshadowing, maybe.
Yeah, there's no way to reverse it because they sewed the strap down. So like, yeah. So it's like wow.
I have to settle for those new figures that are coming out that are just normal sized figures. They look pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean,
guess.
Yeah. You won't have BDSM Indiana Jones.
There's now Mr. Potato Head.
Indy.
Wow.
And he plays the theme for Raiders. If you push the.
Oh, cool.
He plays the Raiders theme. Yeah.
Is it working?
Oh, it works. Yeah. We heard it. Only plays a couple seconds. It should be okay. Here,
You've had that all this time, and they still play at least. It's batteries.
Yeah, the batteries. It's still. batteries worked. Yeah, so
I got to replace the batteries in my Sergeant Arlie Army from my Full Metal Jacket toy that talks and curses and stuff. It's true. I really have one.
I remember seeing that in stores.
Really? Cool.
So it just gives you a few seconds. Yeah.
Nice. Love it.
But actually, I've never changed the batteries in that other Indies, which I probably should do. I never take.
They last a while. Hey, your old toys. Hello there. Good to see you. And Mighty Orbots. Good to see you. Oh my goodness. So that's some cool stuff there. Oh man. And you've done many videos about Indiana Jones toys, Michael.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've done one on the vintage toys from the 80s, and then I've done one on the entire 2008 3 3/4 inch line.
Yes.
And then I did one about kit bashing those lines together to get an actual Raiders Indy. And I'm going to be doing one about coming up soon about being able to finally put together the motorcycle sidecar from Last Crusade that they never made for the figures.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, there's a lot of opportunity there, and I haven't done a video about these taller figures like Mark and mine because there were only a few of them. But normally when I do videos about a toy range, even if they all came out in the same year under the same brand like these did with the smaller ones, I try and just talk about one scale, and then I'll move on to another scale later. So
yeah, cool. Cool. I mean, I like that. I wish I'd have got that when it came out. I'm going to see if I can try to get those new ones when they come out. There'll be throwbacks to real deal, like Raiders and stuff, instead of like, I don't think they're going to make one. I guess they'll probably make one for old Indy. Look at that hat, folks. Oh my goodness. That is fantastic, bro. Man, you got the hat. You got the whip. What else you got?
Oh,
I'm not telling you. You don't have to go get them now if you don't want.
No, they're literally right here.
What you have? Oh,
they're
cool.
literally right here.
Oh, cool. Then please show them if you feel like it. I mean, I'm going to put you out. Wow, that hat's amazing.
Yeah, that's why it's such a classic.
Have you seen
classic?
Have you seen any of any? I don't know if I think he has some video. Have you seen the ones where him cosplaying Indy? It's incredible.
I've seen a few clips. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the Raider. Look at my camera. My camera's like, watch this. I'm going to screw you over again. Hold on.
What is it? There you go. It takes a second, I guess, huh?
No, my camera's just dumb. Hold on.
There you go. Now you're.
Nope.
I think. Oops.
Nope. Okay, hold on. Let me turn my camera off and then turn it back on and see if it'll. Nope, my camera's being a jerk. Hey, I know. Maybe I'll turn myself into a tiger and that'll work. There you go.
Oh, there you go.
All right, so now let's. Aha! I had to literally trick my camera. Okay, so this is the Raiders of the Lost Ark whip. This is a 9-foot whip. The length varied from scene to scene, but this is made the exact same way by a guy who studied. I have an actual whip from the guy who made them for the films. He's since passed on, but he started making the whips differently by the time Last Crusade came around, and he never went back to the old style. So Last Crusade's whips actually have a slightly different handle configuration.
Oh, gotcha.
Was there a reason for that, Michael, or just
he said that he liked the way the whips handled better, and so he was like a whip master. So he was like, no, I'm not going to go back and make them the old way. But some of the people that studied under him, they started making them in the Raiders style, which is the longer handle, thinner handle. So this is a Raiders whip. Nice. And then this is just for kicks. This is a guy called Make It Jones out of the UK, and he makes the Raiders gun belts.
Wow.
And the Raiders gun belt can always be identified from the rest of the series because it has a metal keeper right here. The rest of the series is just a leather keeper. This is a metal keeper, so that's Raiders. And then the Raiders gun belt is also unique in that the whip holder is permanently attached at one point on the belt, whereas it's like riveted on there. Whereas in the other films, it's looped over it. So if you watch the other movies when Indy's running around, that's why the whip is sometimes like hanging between his legs, and stuff because that.
Oh
that
yeah.
whip
Oh, I got
Always losing it.
moving.
Yeah.
And then lastly here, if my stupid camera doesn't go out of focus again, hold on. It's gonna go out of focus. I can feel it. So this is the Mark 7 gas mask bag, which was converted into Indy's satchel. So Indy's bag is a British Mark 7 gas mask bag, actually from World War II. So it's a little more anachronistic. Indy's 1936. These bags are like 41, 42. But we're not going to say that out loud. They just
No time travel for Indy.
Yeah, they added they added the leather strap to it because the bag was originally for British soldiers. It was worn with a canvas strap like this on the chest so that you could pull the gas mask out in case of an attack. But Indy wore it obviously crossbody, so he wore it, over his. Let me get my arm through like this. Whoop, that's my microphone. So he wore it over his shoulder on his left hip. Until
there you go.
The new film.
You have a video, right, about it?
Oh,
you have a video about the whips, right?
That's a very, very old.
Pete.
It's a very old video.
Well, Pete found the link to it.
If anybody watches that video, please don't think for a moment that that's the way I do videos. That was a long time ago.
I remember that one.
If you need to put some sand in a bag so that you can grab the idol.
There you go.
Throw me the idol. I told you to do it.
You always need to have that in the satchel. And then lastly, for those who love Raiders like I do, you always want a pair of work gloves. So in Raiders he wears gloves. It's the only film he does, which is weird because it totally makes sense that a guy doing what he does should be wearing rugged gloves all the time.
Yes.
So
that makes sense.
And in Raiders, there's one other little noteworthy bit of trivia. Raiders is the only film in which Indy carries two firearms.
Oh.
He carries his revolver in the holster on his gun belt. And in the Ravenwood bar, and then later on when he's on the Bantu Wind freighter, you'll notice that in the Ravenwood bar, when he runs out of 6 shots in the doorway, when he's fighting the Nazis, he actually pulls out a semi-automatic.
Oh,
that semi-automatic shows up again on the Bantu Wind freighter at the end. It's when Indy says, to Marion, the engines have stopped. I'm going to go check and see what's going on right before the Nazis board the ship. And he's got an automatic. The automatic in the film is a Browning high power. However, the speculation was always that the Browning high power was rented by the stunt company or the movie production company because it was easier on something about operating with blanks or firing blanks or something like that. I don't remember the exact reasoning, but it's still an anachronism. And so they think it was supposed to be standing in for the Colt 1911.
Cool. So, wow. Badass.
Yeah, an American would be using the Colt 1911.
That's
right.
Nice.
Exactly. So yeah. I try and keep it as authentic as I can. So
that's amazing, dude. Man, man, I just love all
that
and like
stuff. Those gloves. I mean, those are the exact gloves. I mean, is that someone reproducing that, or is that?
Well, a lot of times I kind of cheat on that a little bit because you can get these. You can get leather work gloves in that color for like $11.99 at any hardware store. The thing is that I've had the authentic gloves, and the palms wore out of them real quick because I'm not a guy. I'm not a guy that cosplays. I when it comes to Indiana Jones, I don't cosplay. I actually just. Mike will tell you, like, I've worn this stuff my whole life. Like I wear it when I travel, or not all of it. Like I don't walk around with a whip or anything like that. But like, the jacket, the hat, the bag, all that kind of stuff, the shirt, like I'll wear that stuff. And it's real useful. And so like I had those gloves, and I'm not kidding. The palms wore out of them real fast. So when I buy my pairs of gloves, I cheat a little bit, and I get the ones that have the reinforced palm because that means they'll just last longer. But yeah, so the way I look at it is like, if Indiana Jones had the option of reinforced palms, he'd have probably had those too. So,
Of course.
Yeah.
Now he has cosplayed brilliantly Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, Doctor Who, Colin, fourth Doctor that is Tom. I mean,
yep,
Tom Baker. Recently, more recently, that one, that was a great dude. That was a great cosplay.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that was.
And you're
fun.
getting the scarf, huh? How's the scarf going?
It's getting close. It's getting close. I'm pretty excited to see it because Melinda got all the right wools and all that stuff, and it's going to be really fun. Yeah.
Melinda is knitting him a Tom Baker scarf.
Mm-hmm.
We all know that Madame Nostradamus made that scarf for the Fourth Doctor, but we have someone who's way better at it, and that is, of course, Melinda.
I should have asked my grandmother to knit one years ago. God bless her, but she was.
I told you, Michael, I
all
had
these
one.
great blankets. Yeah.
Yep, I remember you saying that. Yep.
My mom back in 1982 or 3. My mom had some lady make one. It was about a 10-footer. It looked good, you know. If I had it, and it was fun. I wore it around everywhere.
Yeah, it
wasn't that accurate, maybe, but it looked good to me. So.
It's funny when you start looking into accuracy of stuff, like for a costume like that, like especially ones that everybody knows really well, because like I like we were talking about with the indie costume a while back. People on the stream. People think that they know the costume, and I'm not trying to gatekeep here. What I'm saying is a lot of people don't really pick up on details. So like they think they know it, and then they're like, So like for example, people think that if we're keeping it on topic right now, like Tom Baker and Harrison Ford both happened to get their hats, meaning the production team that put the hats on their heads. Those hats came from the same hatter in London and are arguably, people believe, the same hat, literally the same hat, just shaped differently. So like Tom Baker's is a Herbert Johnson poet with a full brim that's not cut and a wider ribbon on the crown. And then Harrison Ford's is a Herbert Johnson poet with a dimensionally cut brim, a narrower ribbon, and a different bash in the front. But if you actually look at like Ark in Space, and then you look at Raiders of the Lost Ark, you're like, holy shit, that's the same hat. Like Tom Baker
really did look that way. Yeah,
he wore Indiana Jones hat before Indiana Jones was even a thing, which is pretty cool.
That's true. Wow.
And the thing that gets, not to overtalk it, but like the thing with the details that people don't seem to pick up on a lot of the time is like, so for example, they don't notice things like the pleats that run down the shirt, which is crazy.
Of course.
But even like the hat itself, people don't notice that the
that's an ornament there.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really
Hello,
cool.
I'm the Doctor. The original, you might say.
My wife is not happy with all the genre stuff on the tree, but I managed to sneak them all in each year. Yeah. She wants me to get my own tree.
He's so violent. Hello.
Yes, I love that.
But like the like, so for example, like the hat in Raiders looks totally different from the hats in every other film in the series, and a lot of people think, they're like, oh, he wears the same hat in every movie. And it's like, first of all, no hat would hold up to that kind of abuse. He would have to be buying a new hat every now and then. But on top of that, the Raiders hat is completely unique in the sense that it's got this really tight pinch in the front. The other hats don't. The Raiders hat also, if I was to set it up right, let me sit up where you can see it on the, let's see. Okay, I'm going to look down. You see how it dents in on this side?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah,
that's unique to Raiders. The Raiders hat dents in. It's what they call the mushroom. It mushrooms out from the top of the ribbon because it's so tight or whatever. And then the brim. So I'm going to take the hat off and show you this. I don't know how well it's going to show up, but all the hats in the other Indiana Jones films, the pinch is real loose on the top, like it's wider right here. It's not as tight. And then there's no bulge that comes out of the side of the crown, right? I'm not good at this, right there. So like that bulge is not there, which you can see in Raiders. Like you can see it in Cairo, truck chase, airplane fight, like, you know, desert. I mean, you can see it, like it's there. But the other thing that's really weird about the Raiders hat is most hats, this bash, these dents here, they're in line with the hat front to back. That would make sense, right? So like if a hat is an elliptical oval and you've got the seam for the sweatband that's on the back, then the dents are going to be right in the front. Raiders of the Lost Ark, for some reason, they didn't do that. And then they didn't recreate that for any other hat in the series. The Raiders of the Lost Ark hat. So let's see if I can do this for you. So there's the there's the back, right? The back center.
Seam, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But if I was to then take this hat, let me line it up. Okay. And bring it straight down. Look where the dents are. You see the two right there?
Yeah.
They're way off center. Those dents in a traditional fedora would be right like here. The center of those dents would be here. If I'm making, am I making sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
But how did that happen? That was just a fluke, or that was just
my understanding is that they were trying to get the brim to do something really cool. And when you, it's going to be hard to see on camera, but when you, on web camera, but when you do that, you're torquing it when you put it on your head. See how it's already torqued on my head?
Yeah.
So like that means that the brim is going to go up on this side, like in a curl, and it's going to flare out on this side like it is right now. Yeah. If you look at Raiders,
it's not symmetric. Yeah, it's not symmetric. Yeah.
If you look at Raiders, that's what the hat looks like throughout the movie.
Nice.
And it's so weird and yet so cool looking, and yet it screams Indiana Jones when you see it. But then when you watch any of the other films, hat ain't like that at all. Like the hat just looks like a brown fedora. Like it's not that it doesn't look good on Harrison Ford. The hat still looks good on Harrison Ford. He's a handsome dude. But it's not distinct anymore. There's nothing, I don't know how to describe it. It's like, it's just, and by Last Crusade, especially towards the Grail Temple at the end, the hat just looks like I'm a hobo riding the rails. Like it's not anything special anymore. It's pretty amazing. To see
that hat takes a pounding.
Say what?
The hat takes a pounding.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I mean, obviously, Last Crusade tries to sell you on the idea that it's been the same hat the whole time. It's like, no, that's not possible. That's not possible.
Of course.
Yeah. But
you know, Brett Cohen and Krampus Jeebus, good to see you. And good night, JD, and good night. Was it a Rod Thunderheart, brothers? Appreciate you guys. The Hungry Boy's running.
I think.
Good night, Hungry Boy. Yep. Good to see you, buddy. Great to see you. Excuse me. Damn it. Dude, that is so cool. But do you, I take it you use a different hat for the Tom Baker cosplay, though?
Yes,
right?
The Tom Baker. I really want to get. It's really frustrating because Herbert Johnson is still in business, and for a long time they had kind of gotten away from bespoke hat making. And they got so far away from it that when they did Indiana Jones 4, it was an Indiana Jones fan that ended up doing all the hats for Indiana Jones 4, because Herbert Johnson had literally just fallen out of the game. And it was basically like, we used to be a bespoke hatter, but now we just buy all of our hats from like China or whatever. And so
lost all the craftsmen.
For this new movie, a few years prior to this new movie happening, Herbert Johnson tried to and has largely successfully reclaimed its heritage, and they've gotten back into the game of bespoke hat making, which is really encouraging. However, as much as I love getting the real stuff from the real people and have over the last 25 years, when it came time to finally get a Raiders hat, because the Raiders hat was the unicorn. Excuse me, that was the one that nobody could recreate, and even the guy who made them for Indy 4, he started years before Indy 4, like 4 years before Indy 4, he was making these hats. He taught himself how to do it. And he was the guy that had gotten the closest to recreating Raiders. It was really close. It wasn't quite there, but it was really, really close. And so over the years, you know, if you're obsessed with this stuff, you end up getting a lot of hats. I've had tons of hats over the years. Some of them were horrible. One turned purple and never looked good anyway. And
wow.
You just go through these, you know, you're chasing that dragon. You're trying to, or unicorn. Like dragon's, I guess, a drug thing. Unicorn. You're trying to find that and nobody could find it. So we thought the hat had been destroyed because everybody thought the original hat was gone. There was no evidence for it, and we know there were multiples on Raiders. So, like for example, the idol grab scene was shot last. The location shooting, as well as I don't remember when the interiors were shot in the temple, but the location shooting in Hawaii was some of the last stuff they shot. And for that, they had to have a new hat because the hat that they used in Tunisia was wrecked. And you know what I mean? Like it was sweat through. They couldn't use that for the opening scene of the film. Like they had to use something else. They had a new hat. Okay. That hat in the Hawaii scenes is identical, but for the fact that it's not shaped on the turn that I was talking about. Somebody figured out that hat at the very beginning of the film is actually not turned before it was shaped. I don't know how they figured that out. I guess they looked at the brim and the brim wasn't doing this thing that it does. Yeah. So weird. So they where was I going with that? Crap. What was I? Oh yeah, right. So Herbert Johnson, they got their act back together, and they have since been offering bespoke hats again, to the point that the rumor is that the hat in Indiana Jones 5 is a Herbert Johnson again. But when I went to start looking for mine, because that's where I was going. Back in 2008, right around the time Indiana Jones 4 came out, the original hero Raiders of the Lost Ark hat resurfaced, and it was found by the guys at Screen Used. They found it. One of the stuntmen on Raiders had been gifted the hat on the last day of second unit filming, stunt shooting in Tunisia. It was signed by Harrison Ford to him. He just pulled it out of the hat box. They signed it and gave it to him, and he took it home. All this has been verified. Well, they thought that they were buying just from this guy's family. They thought they were buying a stuntman hat from Raiders. And then when they started looking at the footage, they were like, "Oh my God, this is the hat. This is the hat from Raiders." Like it doesn't look exactly like it did because it's 30 years older and it's been hanging in a closet somewhere, but it was the one. So suddenly all these details were available that weren't available before, and all these people redoubled their efforts to figure it out. So here's the irony of ironies. This is not a Herbert Johnson. Herbert Johnson is offering what they call the Streets of Cairo. This exact configuration is often called Streets of Cairo, but it's really the hero Raiders hat from the Tunisia shoot, like the whole Tunisia shoot.
Wow.
The funny part is that Herbert Johnson's offering a Streets of Cairo, and they're offering a Raiders, they're offering a Last Crusade, they're offering a Temple of Doom, but they have like a Raiders, and then they've got a Streets of Cairo Raiders. So even they know that there's something special about that version, right? Well, their version of Streets of Cairo, when I was looking at it on their website, and then I was looking at people who bought it and stuff, I was like, there's something. It's not quite. It still looks kind of just. There's something not right. So I went to look at other options because other people figured it out. Of course, the one guy who's going to figure out the Raiders thing and figure out and unlock the Indiana Jones Raiders of the Lost Ark hat finally was a German, which I thought was the most ironic thing ever. Like,
wow.
Maybe it was a Swiss German.
Yeah, right. Which, I think they're very, they're very exacting culture. So I mean, like, I think that's awesome. But he figured it out. Like, and so this hat is from this guy. His name's Tomas, and he runs Ad Vintage out of Germany somewhere, and he made me my Raiders hat.
Nice.
Now, to bring it all the way back around to Tom Baker, they are offering, Herbert Johnson is offering the Tom Baker poet as well. And I'll tell you, I got mine from another company because Herbert Johnson wasn't offering that stuff yet 3 years ago, whenever it was. Herbert Johnson has nailed the recreation of the Tom Baker hat. Like I am sorely tempted to go after one to upgrade my costume, because I thought my hat was really, really good. My hat is really, really good for my Tom Baker outfit. But that Herbert Johnson one, I mean, it leaps off. Like you see it and you're like, that's Robot. That's Ark in Space. That's season 12. Like that, they nailed it. And I think they nailed it because the Tom Baker hat is more of the standard poet unmolested. Like it's the standard slouch hat poet without a lot of stuff done to it besides a wider ribbon. So they're able to really nail that look very easily. Whereas Raiders is like, it's like trigonometry. I don't even understand how it's done, but so
it's amazing stuff, dude. I love it. So you're gonna try to get that other one.
Yeah. And Drew, Ad Vintage still makes the Raiders hats. Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
So, so Drew G, you should, I mean, as far as I know, Ad Vintage is still making them because I just got mine this year. So he should be making them.
That's amazing to learn about. I mean, yeah, because you'd never think there's so much to go. You know, a casual person watches a movie like that's an indie hat, or you know, I was watching your video about how the bag's on the wrong side, and I grew up loving indie, but you don't pay attention to certain things unless you're really into something, or maybe it kind of nagging thing something doesn't look right, but you might not pick it out. So then when you and you'd think that the people making this movie would really care about getting the costume exactly accurate. I mean, it's not cosplay. If someone goes to Party City and dresses up as Indy, that's fine too for just a casual guy in Halloween. But if you really want to do cosplay, some of the cosplayers, it sounds like probably have a more accurate costume than Indy does. So that's kind of discouraging.
Good night, D-Bud. Later, buddy. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's weird because they have all the details at their fingertips, but there was even this laughable thing. I had the privilege of interviewing via email. I interviewed Deborah Nadelman, who's now Deborah Nadelman Landis, wife of John Landis, and she was the creator of she was the head costume designer on Raiders, and so she's credited with the original Indiana Jones outfit, which Spielberg did direct her to model after Charlton Heston's outfit from Secret of the Incas. So she had a starting point. And recently, because there's been a lot of contention about what people in Hollywood claim credit for versus what they actually did and all this kind of stuff. And so, like, for example, to this day, Deborah Nadelman swears up and down that Harrison Ford only wore Red Wing boots on the Indiana Jones films, but everybody knows, both from what's on screen and Harrison Ford's own mouth, that throughout the whole series, he wore Alden 405s. He never wore a pair of Red Wings ever. So like there's stuff like that that's kind of like floating around about this. And there was a whole drama years ago about people trying to figure out what happened with the jackets with each film and how they changed. And that, you talk about like nerd drama, like people were just going at each other's throats about it, what they knew. But like the whole thing with their memory is that Deborah Nadelman, who was the head of the Costumers Guild for a long time, she might still be the president of the Costumers Guild. They were having this big costume expose, whatever you want to call it, history of Hollywood costuming event that was going to go on for a few months. It was like a special exhibit or something like that. And she was going to headline part of it by putting the Raiders costume on display. Well, she had to call up the Lucasfilm archive, and they, of course, said, sure, come on by. And she said that she was shocked because, to your point, Mark, about how the fans end up knowing more about the costume than people that worked on it. She said she went to the Lucasfilm archives and she was shocked to find out that the surviving jackets, hats, pants, boots, shirts, belts, everything from the Raiders movies are not organized by film in the archive. They're all just kind of in big bins, and there's
kind of thrown together.
Yeah. So she was having to like dumpster dive and go through and try and find stuff. So she gets it all kind of like the way she wants it, and then she puts it on these mannequin forms that were in this exhibit were the ones that are kind of like wire frames. They're not like full people. They're just like just enough of a human.
Almost,
yeah. So you're focused on the costume parts. There's no fake head or anything like that. It's just, and all the fans were seeing the photographs and they were like, "That's not a Raiders hat." They were like, "That head ain't from Raiders." They're like, and that jacket, whatever, you know, everybody was kind of that whip looks like it's from part 4. You know, like it was this whole thing where they're like, yeah, I don't even think Deborah remembered quite, you know, and because it wasn't organized.
It's not her thing too, probably, right?
Yeah.
It was a job. She did the movie.
Yeah.
And then, you know,
Job to her.
so many decades later. Yeah. And not to pick on him, but it just, you know, you forget, you know, at work too, you forget certain things, and you know, it's not like it's your everyday thing, you know, when you're a fan, you know, obsess about it in a good way, you know, when you know, like Star Trek or what, you know, we love Star Trek here, and you know what, you know, the communicators maybe changed or the phasers changed, and you know, someone would be like, well, how could you notice that? What are you crazy? You know?
Yeah, it's wild. Like with all those versions of the phaser from the original series. I don't even mean the ones where they change it movie to movie. I mean, just in the original series, you know, you've got the copper handled one, you've got the white handled one, you've got the black handled one, you've got the subtle changes here and there.
Phaser 1, Phaser 2.
Yeah, Phaser 1, Phaser 2, and then the Phaser 2 bodies all had, as the seasons went on, they all had different, you know, paint jobs and stuff. I mean, I was blown away. I'm still blown away. Every year I find out that they've discovered more about the various variations between Luke and Han's blasters in The Empire Strikes Back. Because like for years we just thought they're the same prop. They probably just use the same prop. Then we find out, no, not only did they not use the same props between Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford, they didn't even use the same props between Mark Hamill on Dagobah versus Mark Hamill on Cloud City versus Harrison Ford on Cloud City versus Harrison Ford in Norway. And they're all distinct props going all the way through. So like, I mean, just yesterday I was looking and I found out, I said to myself, I was looking at this website, I'm like, what's a Dagobah version of the blaster? I thought it was just Luke's blaster because it was Elstree Studios. They had the Dagobah set on one stage. They had the Bespin hallway set on another stage.
Wow.
I would think they would just carry the blaster over from one stage to the next. No. Not only is Luke's I'm not talking subtle differences. I'm like, I was staring at these photographs they were showing.
Big differences.
Like, oh my God. I was like, Luke's blaster on Dagobah is totally different in terms of its level of details, level of extra stuff on it. The barrel is thicker, like all this stuff I never really picked up on. And then you go to the Bespin one, and which is the one I'm clearly more familiar with, and it's far more. It still looks awesome, but it's far more stripped down, sleek, more basic. Like it doesn't have as much going on. And I'm like, whoa. And I found that out yesterday. And I am an Empire Strikes Back nut job. Like, so, you know, there's never an ending to the learning of it. Like never.
Yeah, because I got to see a lot of props from Wrath of Khan.
Question for you, Michael.
Oh, sure. Yep.
Oh, the hat video it was a Patreon video, but all you need to do is go to Add Vintage, look up Add Vintage, all one word, ADVINTAGE, and then separate word hats. So Add Vintage Hats is the name of the guy. Yeah. Gotcha. I can actually show you the.
Gotcha. What's that, Mark?
Oh yeah, I was just saying. Yeah, when I got to go to the
make
it full screen.
Let me enlarge that screen there.
Very nice. Yep. Add Vintage. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And he even does the. See if I can get this to show. He does the. Where is it? Is it on this side? There's somewhere where it says Indie French. There it is. Indie French's SOC.
There you go. Yep.
Because Indie French was my handle on the Indiana Jones boards. So he turned around and put that in the hat. So, and
Nice,
SOC
man.
is Streets of Cairo.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Lisa?
No, I was just
absolutely, it was the best. Empire Strikes Back is the greatest. Nothing is quite a sequel. First one's was close,
Yeah.
at least.
Mhm.
But there are only actually 6 Star Wars movies. Just saying. Thank you, Lisa.
Yep.
I'm with you there, big time. There are only 6, but that's okay. Love you, Lisa. We're sticklers about that.
Yep.
Well, man, look, dude, I've kept. Now we're at the 3 mark, dude. I've kept you 3 hours, brother. But I tell you what, it's been fantastic. It went by fast, bro.
No problem. No problem.
Man.
I'm always happy to be here. See, this is the problem. You're going to start hating me because I just wanted to hang out with you and Mark and everybody else in the chat, and I was just looking forward to this. And now you guys are like, God, this is like that guy that like everybody else has left the party, and it's like 4 a.m.
Ridiculous.
No.
Dude, I wish you'd hang. Look, I only want to bug you to hang more because I know you're busy. But I would wish you would come hang. It doesn't even have to be a topic. I wish you'd come hang anytime, just with me, anytime you feel like it and stuff. And we'd love to have you. Even at the clubhouse if you want to stop by one night.
It's been my fault. It's been my fault for trying to get these other projects done, but I have not forgotten. We got to do the shadow at some point, so I got to bring you back to do the shadow. I know I'm about to subject you to a bad movie, but we're going to suffer through it together. We're going to suffer through it together.
Yes.
You know.
I've every now and then when I rag on that movie, I'll get somebody invariably get someone in chat go, I like that movie. Well, there you go. Fair enough.
Well,
I mean, it's not like it's like that director's worst movie or anything because he directed the Highlander too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I was just gonna say, J-Man has never seen the theatrical cut, so I've got to share where we got to get him into a watch party to see the
theatrical cut of Highlander 2.
Well, I sent
That's a
it.
running joke. Thank you. Yeah, well, I got to set that up with J-Man. I'll never forget my friend leaving the theater like, "Don't do it. Don't go see it.
Enjoy those laser disc rips.
Yeah,
enjoy those.
Well,
I will.
I don't want to subject him to it. Of course, look, I know him. He's
got it though. He's got to see
like it anyway.
He's got to see it because he says he likes the director's cut, so he's got to see the original.
J-Man likes that kind of stuff. He admits he likes bad movies, which at least he admits it. So there you go. Well, don't we all sometimes? I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
You can have fun with a bad movie too. Yeah, depends on what kind of bad movie it is. Yeah,
indeed. So,
not like a new Trek. That's a different kind of pain. Yeah.
Oh,
that's filth.
Oh.
So, yeah, bunch of trash, dude. So, new Trek is not Trek at all. It's fake. It's fake, drivelly trash.
Yeah, and we
will always fight it. So, Michael, what you got coming up? Anything? I know you got all kind of stuff in the can, but I mean, anything you're working on right now, or?
I'm working on those damnable Ninja Turtles, and once I get that done, I've got 3 more action. I've got 3 more action figures to shoot B-roll for tomorrow, and then hopefully I can get that whole thing edited and put on Patreon by tomorrow evening, and then on Friday it will go live on the main channel, and then
nice.
And then I'm hoping at that point that I can immediately, there'll be like a whole half day of me cleaning up the whole studio from these stupid Ninja Turtles because they're like an these things are like an environmental nightmare. I've never seen action figures that are environmentally destructive in both directions, where it's like,
wow,
we've got a window box covered by 2 layers of cardboard box with a plastic bag in between those 2 layers. I'm like, what am I paying for the box or am I paying for the figure? Anyway, and then
oh god, yeah, talking about how they just so much of packaging is so ridiculous. You mean or whatever?
It's so dumb.
I thought they're trying to get rid of the packaging. Now they've got figures without windows, which I don't like either.
Right.
You can't see what the figure looks like.
Super 7 is like gangster about the packaging. Apparently, they're like, we're not into all that, reduction of this or that. We're just gonna give everybody everything in triplicate. It's really crazy.
Oh,
yeah.
I see what you're saying now.
They even give you needlessly in these figures, they give you 2 sets of all the weapons, which I'm like, what? Why? Are you just trying to inflate the price? Because like I only need
You're
one.
Gonna lose one set. Yeah.
Like, it's so dumb. But I'm working on. There's a Lego video coming up. trying to get the Bespin freeze chamber custom playset follow-up started, the update on that, because I have the whole setup now. So he did the freeze chamber custom for me, which I talked about either early this year or late last year. I can't remember. And then he since has done the rest of the play environment. So there's the control room and the gantry bridge and all that stuff, but I haven't shown any of that yet. Cool. So I'd really like to get that done up as a video before the end of the year. And then lastly, I guess it's hard to gauge what you can get done before the end of the year. I've got like some Star Wars figure updates. I've got some Action Force figure updates. I've got a G.I. Joe video I want to do, but I don't know how much time I'll have before January 1. Like, I mean, obviously I'll still be working on the videos right into next year and through next year, but you always want to kind of ask yourself, how much can I get done before 2022 is over, you know? So, yeah.
And your videos are pretty elaborate too, so there's a lot to them. You do a great job, so it's not a YouTube short where it takes 15 seconds to throw out there.
It's like I have to do these shot lists. Like this was just for the first few pages of the Ninja Turtle one. Wow. Where it's like I have to go through the script and then get every little shot in a list and then make sure that I grab every single shot, because that way when I go into the edit, so these things,
and then you have to edit it
forever. Man, the trick is to make it look simple.
It's amazing. You make your videos are so well produced, dude. I love them. There's so many great ones. I mean, over the years, it's tough to pick a favorite one, but I'll never forget. I always tell you. I mean, I tell you this all the time. I'll never forget how I know it was simple, because it was probably the research was probably the toughest part about this video, not production. The one you did about Super Friends, videos, is insane, dude. I'm like, how in the hell did you find out all of that stuff? It had to be. I know you didn't have to do a lot of filming, but it had to be just the research, right?
The research, and then how do I? Because if you film it, later on somebody else did a version of that video where like they were trying to sort it out, and they were just laying the discs on a table and then literally ripping scraps of notebook paper out with a Sharpie and writing 1, 2, 3. So I was glad that I went to the effort that I did, because it was the trick was going to be, how do I visualize this for the audience as to how confusing this is, but in an engaging way where people go, wow. And I thought, I'm still bad with motion graphics and creating stuff. I'm better now than I was then, but then I was really pushing myself. And when you see it, you're like, you really were illiterate back then, because this isn't that big a deal what you did. It's like, but for me at that time, it was like, you know, I was a pilgrim in an unholy land.
That was a long time ago at the old house.
Yeah. And so what I did was I was like, okay, I've written out the chronology of these releases, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a visual timeline that's blank, and then I'm going to just start reading the script, lay it down in the edit, and then time these graphics of the DVD covers to drop in the order in which they were released. And when you see them drop in, it's like, wow, Warner Brothers just cocked this all up. Like, I cannot believe they made this as complicated as it was. Like, it unbelievably stupid. Like, corporate decision making at its finest. Like, it just, oh my god. Yeah.
How hard is it to release the goddamn things in order?
I know. It's so stupid. And then on top of that, like, why have you guys never, maybe they haven't, I don't know, because after I did that video and I had my whole set, I guess I flushed any keeping up with it from my memory. It was like, no, you know what, I'm gonna go try and get all the Carry On films, because at least they have cleavage in them. But like, it was like they never brought out like a full complete set. They're all still just disparate sets, and you know,
You wonder sometimes.
No, they released some after you did that video, I think, but it was like seasons or something. But
yeah,
I think so.
You might be right. Yeah, they might have repackaged some of them.
Yeah,
you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, and exactly, Alejandro. That's another problem. In the way that the BBC is doing Doctor Who right now, God, that was so freaking annoying. I don't just put them in order, buttholes. Not that I could afford them anyway, but every now and then I snag a decent after I have to wait like 3 years for one of those Blu-ray sets. And sometimes in a sale, you can snag it for a pretty decent, fairly cheap price. Because I know you're snagging them right away from the BBC, from the UK, and those things are not cheap.
They're not, and once you're in a few, it's like, well, I got to stick with this until the end, because otherwise my shelf is going to look weird, because I'm not going to have all the same, which I know is OCD, but physical media collectors being what they are.
Oh yeah, that's big. You got to have the spines looking the same. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I just got the notice late last week that my Hartnell set had shipped.
That's the new, first was it season 1?
Season
2.
Season 2, I think.
They did 1 though, didn't they?
They haven't done 1 yet.
Oh, they did 2 before 1. Well, there's my point.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
And they include the recreations, the animated versions in these new sets, I guess.
I don't know.
Well, that's what's really weird, is that we know for a fact that some of the episodes in this season don't have animated recreations. So
that's strange.
I know, because we were hoping that they would we were thinking that a Troughton season would be showing up first, because they've done so many animated recreations of some of those, that maybe they were getting close to having a full season visually of one. But no, they started with a Hartnell, and I'm like, well, I guess they gave up on the prospect when BBC America pulled their funding to help out with the animations. I guess they just said, well, let's just move on with I don't know what they're going to do.
They released the Abominable Snowman last week. That's got a lot. Most of that's
Mm-hmm.
restored and animated, but I know it's not the set. But I'm just saying so. But is that maybe the last one they do for a while?
Well, yes, I believe so. I believe that is the last one for a while, until they get that figured out, which is too bad, because I know that the Web of Fear looked like garbage, but because the animation house
so did Power of the Daleks. Ugh.
Yeah,
bad, man.
Ugh. Well, they redid Power of the Daleks.
Did they? When?
Yeah,
recently. I went to the Fandom event at the theater to see that when they came out with the animated version of that.
Yeah, that might have been the first. That was probably when it was originally done, right?
A number of years ago, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they've redone that animation.
I got to try to find that.
Yeah, it's
terrible.
I know, and it's amazing. They'll redo that one, but then they'll let out Web of Fear the way it is. And
the one on Amazon on BritBox is terrible. Looks terrible.
Well, I've never liked the animations in particular, so I'm not really a good judge. But I have the Blu-ray from England of the Power of the Daleks redo, whatever, and I watched it, and it still didn't do anything for me. But I had to go online on YouTube to see what was different, and it really is like a total recomposition. A lot of the visual elements look the same, but they've been given better backgrounds, better shot compositions, this and that. So I did see a comparison, and I was like, well, the animations still don't do jack for me, but I'm glad other people like them, so.
Yeah, and I'll never spend any money to do it with better animation, but whatever.
Well, now what's happening with Disney throwing money at Doctor Who now, too? They're
still not going to redo those, though.
They're
not
going
to spend any money on that.
Yeah.
Disney
just,
having...
isn't it disgusting? Well, they're just going to they're going to get a hold of it, but still the BBC still making the new show, which I don't even care about. I'm going to watch the David Tennant stuff,
3 episodes,
just to see those just to see him, just to watch it. But after that, they can go straight to hell.
Right.
They're not getting me back. I actually watched that last one just see the other doctors.
Yep.
I watched that too. Yeah.
Donnie Pearson, I just wanted to tell you, if you're just getting started, on wanting to get into like hats like this, and you're looking to buy your first one, I would highly, highly, highly recommend as your first one an Akubra Federation 4 from Hats Direct. They have hatsdirect.com. They're out of Australia. Very reputable company, been around for years. Their Akubra brand is very well known. And their Federation, which is on their front page right now, you can get their Federation pre-shaped from them, and it is a very, very respectable Indiana Jones fedora. Now, I'm not going to say that it captures Raiders, but but it is a really, really good, durable Indiana Jones fedora that's made out of the right materials, and it's gonna do you really well, and it's not gonna cost you your kidney to get it. Just saying.
There you go.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Well, man, dude, I can't thank you enough for being here tonight, brother. It's so much fun. I never want it to end, man. I hope we can get, I take it easy on you. I don't bug you about it because you're too nice, man. Even if you're busy, I know you come over anyway, but I'm going to bug you again soon just to come on and hang out. And
okay.
I like it when it's like this. We just throw it up there and see what happens, but we do topics as well. That was a pretty good idea someone had about like ranking the Bond movies. That would be one to do in the future, I'm sure. But, Mark D, any final words, buddy?
No, it's great to meet you, Michael. I always appreciate your videos, and I'll turn my camera on for a second. There definitely is not a HasLab Galactus hiding behind me there.
Look at this.
Yeah, like you said, I'm just such a long time Fantastic Four fan.
I just problem, damn it.
I just couldn't, and I was, I just couldn't resist. It was just it was painful. But
look how big that damn box is.
Yeah, I still haven't unboxed it. Maybe that's my punishment. I'll just leave it in the box till next year. But
maybe I won't tell your wife about it.
Don't tell my wife. Yeah, she's no. Yeah, I got to get home and get the packages before she does. Yeah, but I've been doing a bunch. Been trying to post a lot of my Christmas ornament collection that I've got going with all my Star Wars and Star Trek, and got a few Indiana Jones ornaments too. So been trying to post those and toys and lots of good stuff. So I'll be late to the clubhouse tomorrow night. I got something going on, but I should be there around 10:30, I guess. But looking forward to that. And Sunday Night Geekery on Sunday night.
Yep, Sunday Night Geekery. So that's indeed all right, everybody. Well, tomorrow night, please join us 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, same Clobby time, same Clobby channel. We're gonna have it's clubhouse time as always with our wonderful first officer Raquel and Mark, who said he will be there, tardy as always, but he'll be there.
I'll be tardy from the TARDIS,
of course. And again, everyone, please remember Raquel's book. Please go out there. The link in my description below. Friday night, I should be hanging out with Nick Weiser and the Comic Shop Gang, the Friday Night Comic Shop Gang, 8:30 Central Standard Time, as always. Hanging out with the good little boys over there, the youngsters. Teaching them about comics. I'm kidding. They all love comics. I love messing with them. They're great friends, though, and a lot of fun. And then Saturday night Star Trek, folks. 4 more episodes. We're now in the 4th season of Deep Space Nine, and looking forward to that. What a great crowd we got on Saturday nights. It's fantastic fun. You're all amazing. Really appreciate that. So just big shout outs, of course, to the great Eric K, our wrenchers, the great Eric K, the great Chris Persia, the great D. Bud Martin, and the great, I don't know how great he is, but he's Phantom Outside. Just teasing.
Oh, that's a new one. That's cool.
What? Oh, you like the new Phantom Outsider?
Nice. A nice job, yeah.
He is a great wrench. And, of course, shout out to the puppy dog, Apollome's Minion. Thank you. And be careful out there. And shout out to all of you. I really appreciate y'all being here with us tonight. Especially you ladies, Lisa and Sherry, I guess you guys are okay too. We appreciate you. So again, everyone, big thanks to my good friend Michael Retroblasting. Big thanks to all of you. Have a wonderful remainder of your week. Take care, everybody.
It's clobbering time. It's clobbering time.